we have some things to discuss here, and it's pretty serious issues here. Olivia Rodrigo is outstanding. Do not at me. This girl can sing it. This song, her song "Good for You," has been stuck in my head for the last 2 weeks. I have to let it out. Gotta give her some credit. Gotta give her some love. It's my new alarm tone. It's my new ringtone. It is taking over my life. I don't know if you guys have experienced this with any other person, but Olivia Rodrigo, man, she can get me going.
I think her music video for "Good for You" was filmed at my high school. Like they used my high school gym, and like they used our PE lockers like for her video, and like they used our pool and stuff. Like, just get a quick plug there.
It's pretty sick.
Quick plug.
Actually, I don't know. Have you guys seen the "Good for You"? There's not a lawsuit, but a like a copyright kind of thing going around. It's trending.
Really?
To Taylor Swift's. Oh, what's that song called? I forget what the song's called, but there's like a part in "Good for You," like the chorus. It's very similar to a Taylor Swift song, and then you kind of look at the artist.
Oh, I know
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you look at the artist, and they're basically both making a living off of breaking up with guys. So I just throwing it out there. I don't realize if you guys didn't see it, Evan. I don't know if you want to pull it up.
I mean, like I haven't.
It was on my For You page. I don't remember, but it was pretty interesting.
Am I wrong to put her ahead of Taylor Swift, or are we way too early right now, Jared? Come on, you give the too early.
It's too early, but that album "Sour" is fucking amazing. The amount of times I've listened to that album from top to bottom.
Unreal.
And "Good for You" isn't even the best song off it. Trader's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Driver's License is unbelievable.
Driver's License is so good.
Yeah.
One step forward, 3 steps back. Absolute banger. Good for You goes hard, but that's more like the summer song from
the header track, the title track, Brutal. I love
such a good song. Like she just keeps coming out with hits. Let's hope she keeps it going. I mean, I don't know if I was a little too naive in putting her ahead of Taylor Swift. Let's give it some time.
Yeah, maybe not yet. Like all time, not a chance.
No, not yet. She's still young. She's our age, 17.
Yeah, give Taylor Swift a few more breakups, and then we'll.
Can I bring up one of my debates though?
Do it.
Yes,
Katy Perry is better than Taylor Swift.
That's a terrible take. And me and my friend debate this all the time.
It's one of my favorite debate topics because it's true. Katy Perry is fucking amazing. Also, one of my biggest.
Did we lose him?
Wait, no, Jared, we lost
Jared. Jared, is your mic off?
Are you muted?
I can't hear you, bro. Uh-oh. Well, now Jared's gone, I could talk about how wrong he is, and there's nothing he can do about it. As a biased country, I don't know if you can hear us. As a biased country fan, Taylor Swift is like top tier. How she was able to go from like a country superstar to like, even better. You can't hear us.
Oh, goodness.
As I was saying, just as I need to like block him because he just makes me laugh the way he's like going around. Being a biased country fan, Taylor Swift is like top tier for me. Like in terms of artists in general, I love her. Even like her more pop stuff, like the Taylor's verse. I think that's what it's called. Taylor's version. Unreal. Mr. Perfectly Fine. It's on my playlist. Have you heard the song "Back to December"?
Yes.
Taylor Swift is still on my playlist and somehow always ends up in like my top. Like I always find it somewhere in my Spotify rewind.
She's outstanding. She's outstanding.
She's
timeless would be the best word to describe her. But Jared seems to think otherwise. Come on, you got to expand on the debate now. You can't just sink into the shadows.
You guys hear me now? Because for some reason, in the conversation, I just got booted out, so I don't know what that was about. I guess the Zoom did not agree with my take, but
neither did we in the last maybe 10-ish seconds or whatever.
No,
give your side.
Firework, Roar, last Friday night. There's no competing with that. Those
all great songs
are absolute bangers. Taylor Swift is great. I'm not ripping on Taylor Swift. I just liked Katy Perry better. And then my other debate that I was bringing up, Roar by Katy Perry is better than Firework by Katy Perry. Think about the music video. That has to be one of the most iconic music videos.
Gotta throw it in there.
Is Roar the one with the tiger? Is there like a tiger in there?
Yeah, she's like in the jungle.
Yeah. Yeah, I can back that. I could back that. It's a
She's
great
got
song.
the Eye of the Tiger, the fire, dancing with the fire because she's a champion, and you're gonna hear her roar. Like that's what it's all about.
I love it. I can still picture you guys bumping her like on the way to dodgeball. It's great.
Is that
That's
a
our win
hype
song.
song? That's a win
It's a big-
song. Love it.
Oh yeah.
If we're throwing out music takes, I'll say there is no song on this planet that will get like 6 grown-ass men in a car screaming at one time, like Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus.
Oh,
There's
As
fuck.
soon as you brought up
over.
Benny, I knew what
It's
song you're
over.
talking about.
What?
Like as soon as he started saying, "Yeah, there's no song that gets people singing like that." Yeah, it's obviously Party in the USA.
It's well, like we used to play it before our playoff games just to get hype. No regular season for some reason, but only playoff games. When I used to play like a little bit more competitively than now. And it was so much fun. Like 20 guys in the room, all supposed to be like fired up for a playoff game, and we're just singing Miley Cyrus. So
No, dude, like what's it called? Firework was our win song for hockey. Like,
these are great artists.
They are great artists, and I want to stay on this topic here a little bit. If you got to throw around 4 names, number ranked 1 through 4, who you taking out of these female artists? I'm not going to go on the male side here. There's a terrific amount of them. Well, there's a bunch of them you can.
Oh, I guess we
throw out
said
there.
Miley Cyrus. Yeah. Oh man, I gotta rank them.
It's tough, I know.
I'm
Jared
gonna
seemed to
go-
give away his number 1 real briefly.
all right,
I
I'm
think
going
it's obvious. You go
I'm
first.
going
Evan.
Katy Perry first. I'm going
Ooh.
Miley Cyrus second. I'm going Taylor. Wait, did I say I can't stand Taylor Swift?
Whoa.
It's a bad take.
Sorry,
That's a
sorry.
very
It's just
fire
like
take.
if she didn't have any breakups, what's the theme of all of her songs?
True.
There's gonna be some upset fans in
Yeah,
the chat.
man.
No one has mentioned Adele. I love Adele.
Thank you.
I
She
love
made my
Adele.
I'm not
top
an Adele
4.
fan. I'm not an Adele fan. I can't.
Oh.
Her new
So
song
many
was like
bangers.
okay. It's like it was kind of overhyped. The new song.
Jared, what do you got ranked number 1 to 4?
Okay. Any female artist.
Any female artist from this past
Oh.
decade? I'd keep.
Okay. Katy Perry number 1. Olivia Rodrigo. I think she has climbed to number 2. I
She
love
cracked
Olivia
the top
Rodrigo.
2. I love it.
Like Adele number 3. I still like Taylor Swift. Maybe I put Taylor Swift number 4.
It'd
She
be
made
a
the
crime
top.
to not have her in the top 5. I
Yeah.
think. I might just have to go through my playlist. You know what? We'll stay away from the country artists. But if we're gonna go through those 4, I'd probably go Taylor Swift 1 and like a distant second. Not distant, but like a close second, like a middle-ish second. Be Olivia Rodrigo. I love her. I love her so much. And then Katy Perry's unreal. And then 4 is difficult. 4 is really difficult. I'm gonna go Rihanna.
Got to give some
Does that count?
Riri in
Does
there.
that count? That
That does-
counts,
that
right? I don't know
counts.
if we
Of course
count
it
it as
counts.
this decade or like
She's
yeah.
in this decade still. She made it there. She
All right,
cracked
can we get into
2010.
hockey?
We will get into
No.
hockey talk
It's a
I'm
music
soon.
podcast.
No, I'll give my top 4, and then we'll get into the top 4 of the
Yeah,
Toronto Maple
let's
Leafs
hear
that
it.
have been lighting it up on the score sheet over this past couple of games. Now you understand why I put the rank 1 to 4. But my top 4 is it's got to be number 1. You got T Swift in there. Number 2, you got Olivia Rodrigo. Number 3, you got Adele, and 4 out of left field here, Lord. Do you know some? There's a
yeah.
couple bangers from Lord.
Yeah.
I'll let her squeeze it a little bit over Katy Perry. I don't know. Katy Perry's at 5. I'm sorry, Jared.
Oh
but
man.
just the way it had to be with me. And I don't know. I think that's a pretty reasonable take there. There's a lot of controversy in this one.
Yeah, we're
I think
definitely
gonna
missing a few. Like
We're
Nicki
definitely
Minaj,
missing a few.
Some friendships
Cardi
are
B.
definitely being lost right now. Like
Mhm. As we speak, Evan.
Jared's like putting out a hit list on Mario.
I'm just about ready to leave the Zoom call. I think I'm over it.
well, with your luck, Jared, Zoom might already do it for you. So let's not be careful what we wish for here.
Yeah.
But anyways, we will get into the hockey talk just about now. I think that was a pretty fun opening to go with, and a lot of things are going on with the Toronto Maple Leafs team. We have them on the list of things to talk about. We're going to give our post-game take. Leafs Flyers. They just finished moments ago. 3-0 win for the Toronto Maple Leafs in Philadelphia. Soup did shut the door, a shutout for him. I'm not sure how many he's got on the year,
36
but
saves though.
36 saves. He matched it. So we'll be getting into that. We'll also be discussing just some themes around this Toronto Maple Leafs team that we've seen over this past couple of weeks, including this core four and the balance between themselves and the depth of this team. I don't know what the nickname I saw on the broadcast was. It was the core
Oh my
four
God.
and
Something
the eight mates.
The eight mates. Yes.
There we go. We'll settle the score there. We're also getting into Jack Eichel. His not return. He is making his way finally to Las Vegas. It's been rumored since, well, I can't even remember how long. It's been almost as long as this podcast, because we've been talking about it with this cast here. My prior buddies that I did it with before. It's just been an ongoing topic of discussion, and finally it has settled down. We'll be getting our thoughts on that, and finally looking into the standings after just about a month of hockey. Some teams that are surprising, some teams that are tearing it up, and some teams that are, it's a little questionable where they are. We gave them a bit of time from a couple weeks ago where we ranked our sort of thoughts on these teams, and some of them have not budged whatsoever. So we'll be taking another dive into that, looking back into what these teams, what the potential is looking like, because the ceiling is dropping very quickly. I had such high expectations for some of these teams that we're going to list as when we get into the segment, and it's just not coming to fruition. We'll see what goes on there. But we're going to kick things off with the most recent news in the Toronto Maple Leafs world. The Leafs beating the Flyers 3-0. And it was a pretty good game all around. The Leafs finally started on time, I think. Well, I wouldn't say terrific, but it was a much better than that LA game. I know Sheldon Keefe, following the loss to the Kings, he was preaching starting on time. We just let everyone run into the offensive zone through the neutral zone into their offensive zone, and just so many breakaways. And obviously it was evident with the goals that were going in against the Kings at home. This game was totally different. I think they woke up a little bit. They got a penalty to start the game, a power play, and then they surrendered 2 penalties as well. And Semyonov making his NHL debut, I believe he's 27 years old. So what a journey it is for him getting his crack in the lineup.
Baby Ilya.
Exactly. It took Tavares he was a healthy scratch to start the game, or before we even got into it. I guess it was, I think, an injury thing. That's what I was hearing. So hopefully everything's good on his front. But again, Semyonov stepped off, and I thought he played a terrific game for the most part. He was going into the corners really hard. He was winning forechecks, winning puck battles, everything you want out of the fourth line player, especially in his debut. No points on the score sheet, but I don't think that matters when you're looking at this guy. I'll turn it over to you, Jared. What were your thoughts on the kid? He's making his first start in the NHL at the age of 27. Interesting story, like I mentioned. What did you make of his play?
I liked him. I was excited when I saw he cracked the lineup. Obviously, it wasn't on the best terms because it was meaning that our captain, John Tavares, is out. And obviously, I saw what caused him to be out. It was a weird play in the LA game. I believe he took like a Charlie horse to the leg. Just it hurt him in that. And he obviously wasn't good to play tonight. So that wasn't great. But I mean, it was great to see Semyonov, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, stepping into the lineup. Probably butchered his name. He wasn't crazy noticeable. I mean, he definitely didn't do anything bad. He was fine. I mean, I didn't complain. I don't think he did anything to warrant him being out of the lineup next game. He was good. Did exactly what you expect a fourth liner to do. He threw some hits. He played a hard game. He was pretty good. I mean, didn't do anything crazy. He obviously didn't get on the board offensively. But no, he had a good game. I definitely didn't have any complaints with him, and it was exciting to see him step into the lineup. And I'm excited to see what comes next for him.
And I think that's just a terrific thing for him to say. Like, nothing bad happened during his playing in this game. I don't know. It was just an even game from him. It's better to see this kind of stuff, just a regular, it looks like a regular Joe out there, than seeing him just turning the puck over left, right, and center. And a pairing that was turning over the puck very frequently in that first period was that Muzzin Hall pairing. It's just not working. I don't know. We talked about it briefly in the last episode about Justin Hall's future. He's had a really tough start to the season, and I think it's just continuously coming and piling on him. And I think it's affecting Jake Muzzin's play as well. I mean, you recorded a point in the game, which was, I guess, nice to see on the offensive side, but the defensive side where it matters, these guys have just not been there. Evan, I know you were touching upon it last week. Can you expand upon it a little more? Because now we've seen a little bit more of the cards dealt with Hall and Muzzin, and it's just been nothing successful so far.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think this was a game and a time in the season where you need to get Justin Hall back on the ice and kind of just reassess his value. You know, like, he took a little break for a few games. They allowed Dermott and Muzzin to play together. And I'm just saying, like, I don't want to sound like a hater, but I feel like Justin Hall needs to be in a different jersey sooner than later, because right now it's not working with the Leafs, and I don't think it's worth sacrificing Travis Dermott, who I think is exponentially better and more valuable to the Leafs than Justin Hall is. And I think you want Lilligan there. You drafted him high for a reason. It's not because you were hoping and praying he would turn out to be one of your top six. You knew he was going to be down the road in your top six. So you got to get rid of Justin Hall, and sending him down to the minors doesn't do anything for him. It doesn't do anything for the team, and it doesn't do anything for him personally too. Like it just degrades his confidence. And for what it's worth, I would trade him to get draft picks, because right now the one thing the Maple Leafs need are assets, and you don't need another player right now. Like the team is complete. Like if you get another player, where are you putting him in the lineup? And if you are going to get a player, it can't be a guy that you're going to send down to the Marlies. Like you could have just done that with Justin Hall. So right now, I think if they can get a third round pick, maybe even a second, I don't think they would. I think the highest value they could get is a third. I would take that deal right now, because you need draft capital when you're in a salary constraint.
It's an interesting take. I mean, I've never, at least over the last couple of weeks, just haven't really thought, and I know draft picks just fly by the brain because we don't really ever care about them. And Sutter looks like Kyle Dubas doesn't as well, for the way he's been shipping them off to any other team. But it makes totally so much sense in this situation the Toronto Maple Leafs are in. I think Justin Hall, what he's brought is just so much. It's not really a bad thing on him. It's just the reality of the situation. He just sort of made the players around him a little bit worse. I mean, defensively, I think is a fair point. It's just, what a terrific season he had last season. It was a breakout year for him. So much success. He was a good locker room guy. Everyone loved him. I think we saw it abundantly in the documentary that came out to start the year. But on the ice this season, it just hasn't been clicking for him. And I think a new destination is possible. I think it's more than possible. I've seen a lot of insiders talking about getting him shipped off to other places just as early as the trade deadline, even way before that, as early as Christmas. I heard some people talking about as well. And yeah, chime in.
I think a team, like I'm going to sound like biased here. I think a team that needs him is LA, because they're missing a defenseman. Like they had Matt Green and Alec Martinez for so many years. Obviously they didn't get Eichel, but they have the draft capital for it. I think if they could trade a third round pick and like a measly prospect, or even just trade for a third round pick, like they're a team that needs that big guy. And when they were successful is because they had big defensemen who were willing to step up.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to talk about LA a little bit later in the show. They've been red hot. I believe winners of 6 straight, could be 7.
They just came
6.
off Montreal overtime win.
So 6 straight for them. They'll be getting a bit of love in this episode, but I don't know. I think it's Hall's turn to get a bit of the beating stick on this show. And I want to bring it into, I was going to touch upon the Maple Leafs D a little bit later after we recap this game, but I think it's a perfect opportunity to dissect them now. So many guys involved. I don't think we expected this heading into the season, that it was going to be this sort of happy situation. We got a bunch of guys that could fill in that void if Justin Hall were to go to another destination. What do you guys make of Lilligren's play? Sandin's been terrific. I don't know, like, is Lilligren's play been so consistent that it keeps him in the lineup and it keeps him a step ahead of Justin Hall? He's going to be taking over that role if he goes somewhere. I just want to pick your brain, because he's getting that lower end of the table, that bottom 6, the third pairing I'm trying to say here. He's been playing much of that with Sandin, which I believe is a fair customization, because they've played full minor league time alongside each other, and I don't think they're good enough to play in the top 4. But I don't know, what do you make of their play? Maybe differentiate between Lilligren and Sandin. I'll start with you, Adama. What did you make of the kids? They've been all right, and it's been a couple weeks now where we've seen some consistent play from them.
I want to talk about Timothy Lilligan first, because he was a guy tonight that I noticed a lot more. Like, I'm going to say this was probably his best game of the season. And we keep saying that. Like, I feel like every night, this is Timothy Lilligan's best game. And he keeps getting better. Like, the stretch passes that this guy can make are unreal. Like, he looks like one of the best puck-moving defensemen on this team. And he's still pretty sound defensively. He had one pretty bad turnover that the breakaway one. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But I also like to say Semyonov put him in a pretty shitty situation there, kind of flat-footed on his back end. He didn't have much to do. But I've loved Timothy Lilligan this season, and there's no reason that I'll throw it back to Travis Dermott a little bit because I did want to make a little comment on that. There's no reason that Justin Hall should be in the lineup over Travis Dermott or Timothy Lilligan. Dermott is younger, right? No, there's no changing that. Dermott is the only thing that Dermott isn't with Justin Hall is right-handed. I think Dermott is better defensively. I think he's better in transition. I think he's one of the best. I think he is the best transition defenseman the Leafs have. I'm not saying odd man rush defenseman, but like 5-on-5 in terms of his gap control is among the best in the NHL. That's where he makes bread and butter using those edges. I think he's just an overall better player than Justin Hall, and he's cheaper, and he has term, which Justin Hall doesn't have. So I'm not saying we should move on from Justin Hall just yet, because you don't sell a guy when he's at his lowest value, which right now I think would be like a 4th, 5th round pick, just because he's making that $2 million. So I forgot where I was going with this, but if we're going to touch on Rasmus Sandin, he's also been really good. But we knew this. We knew Rasmus Sandin, or should I say Carl Sandin? Did anyone see that?
Yes.
That's his legal name, Carl Sandin. Carl Eric Sandin. It was a nice little athletic article. He's been really good. The second power play has been great, and part of that success is because of him. I love the way he's able to walk the line, and he's a shooting threat, unlike Riley, who is also a great power play quarterback. That's a discussion for another time. Even at 5-on-5, Sandin and Lilligan, they just look like they complement each other, even though their skill sets are really similar. So I've been a fan of the kids.
And I think we're seeing a little bit more in Lilligren's game what we saw in Sandin last season. Now, Sandin, he came into the league, or not, he didn't come into the league last season, but he got a more prominent role with this team in that condensed schedule. And he really played terrific. It was a reason why he stood in the lineup for such a long time. And he became a vital piece, not even just in the regular season, but even in the playoffs as well. So I think this is something that Lilligren is starting to get into a bit more. I think he's ready to take the next step. And we've given this guy some time to develop. He's been in the minors for quite a while. We've let him play his course. We didn't force anything on him. We gave him some chances in the preseason, some little sprouts within the regular season, spread him in there a little bit. We didn't see anything substantial yet. Now we're seeing the substantial play from Timothy Lilligan. And I think it's just a terrific thing and coming at the right time for the Maple Leafs when a guy like Justin Hall is scuffling a little bit. And just on Justin Hall, before I turn it over to you, Jared, I think that the Leafs are forcing him a little bit. They're trying to make him like, we really want you to succeed. Keep playing, keep putting him in the situation. And I know he can handle it, but if the guys are better guys behind him are playing much more effectively, let them play more minutes than Justin Hall, or even more, just let Justin Hall sit on the bench. Let him sit in the press box, whatever it takes. Like you mentioned, Adamo, Dermott should not be sidelined just to get Justin Hall minutes in. We've seen Justin Hall get minutes in, and right now, him and his minutes aren't going well with this team. And the guys who are on the bench and who aren't playing as much, like Sandin, Lilligren, and Dermott, who was a healthy scratch tonight, those guys aren't going to get any love when you're playing Justin Hall so much. So I think I just want to make that point on Justin Hall. I don't know. I thought I found that pretty evident in his game over the last couple of weeks. Jared, what did you make of Justin Hall's game and the two kids filling in that third pairing, and Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Lilligan?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna start off on Justin Hall. The issue is he makes $2 million, and if you're benching a $2 million player, it's an absolute waste. So at that point, you may need to start looking into a trade. The issue with the trade that scares me is, as much as, yes, he hasn't been good enough, and even though I liked him last year, clearly this year something is wrong because it just hasn't been working out. But if we do trade him and someone goes down with an injury, that just creates a whole nother slew of issue. So I'm definitely hesitant, especially like what Damo pointed out, at his lowest value. I don't think now is the time to trade him, but you need to do something to get this player going, because right now it is just not working out. But two players that are absolutely working out, they're clicking, they're flying on all cylinders. Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Lilligan. The young kids are absolutely clicking right now. Obviously on the Marlies in the minors, they played together, and they clearly have that chemistry, because, I mean, they're playing right now like, and I said this when they first started playing this season, they're playing like confident defensemen right now. They're making some high IQ, very smart plays. They're moving the puck forward, and they're just playing really well together. They look like confident players, and that is what we need out of our young kids that, I mean, we drafted in the first round with Sandin in 2018, with Lilligan in 2017. And when you look at Lilligan, even though it hasn't worked, you know, there's a few years in a row where we sort of expected him to be this great defenseman and it hadn't quite been working out. This year, I don't know, something just snapped in him. And all of a sudden he's like, there was all that hype around me in 2017. It's about time I start living up to that. And he's just absolutely flying out there. And I'm loving what I see from those two young kids.
And the only thing that I'm going to point out on them, and this is just natural in a defenseman's finding his way in the National Hockey League, it's just the growing pains. And you're going to see it throughout every youngster in the National Hockey League. This is nothing against Timothy Lilligan, or even sometimes Rasmus Sandin. You see them, like you mentioned, Damo, before his turnover at the blue line in this game against Philly. There's been a lot of turnovers from him, but nothing so bad to keep him out of the lineup. He's been terrific. And I just wanted to mention that as well. It's obviously very evident in a defenseman who's just making their way into the league. And I think Lilligan and Sandin, they show these signs, but so many more signs of them coming out of their shell and getting a little bit more gelled with this team and more into a prominent role with this squad. And Jared, I just want to ask you one more thing, because you mentioned up this point about Justin Holl, and this is all I'm going to say about Justin Holl for the rest of the show, hopefully. So you mentioned that like something has to happen for him to get clicking. What would you suggest that is? Because we saw him getting a healthy scratch a couple of games ago, a kick in the pants, I guess it looked like from the outside looking in, and I guess that didn't work at all. So what is Keefe and even Dubas left to do now?
At this point, you have to just start getting a little bit creative. It's still November, and Keefe has to start trying to match him with other people, because clearly that pairing of Jake Muzzin and Justin Holl is not working out right now. And obviously, why would you disrupt lines that are clicking? So I'm not going to say completely change everything, but I mean, you have to try to find something to get Justin Holl going, whether it's he just needs to go into the GM's office and have a little talk with Dubas, or you have to do something. You have to talk to this guy. You have to try to find a way to get him back to the player he was last year, because when he's playing confident, we've seen that he could be a successful defenseman on this team. He had a great year last year. He has the tools there. He has what it takes. But I mean, I don't know if something this year isn't there. I don't know what it is, but something this year isn't working out for him, and he needs to try to do something to motivate him, because he obviously has what it takes, but this year he just hasn't been showing that. And again, whether it's maybe splitting him up with Jake Muzzin, moving up him with someone else, you have to do something, or maybe it is you have to bench him at a point. But I don't know. It's a tough situation, because why do you want to bench a $2 million defenseman? But at the same time, he's not playing right now, and there are three players in Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Lilligan, and Travis Dermott who are more deserving of spots in the lineup right now. So it's a really tough situation. It'll be very interesting to see what Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas do about that moving forward, because as of right now, he just straight up hasn't been good enough.
Yeah, now if I'm Sheldon Keefe, Kyle Dubas, whoever's making these calls here, I'm letting the big dogs eat. And the big dogs are the guys that are producing at this moment. Sandin, Lilligan fall into that place. And I want to talk about these big dogs who have been producing, because it's just been, we've been seeing so much of it over this last couple of games. And finally, it came to a close. We saw the 16 consecutive goal streak come to an end from that core four. Andre Casa was snapping it with his second of the year. I believe it came in the third period of this game against the Flyers. And Nylander scored a pair of goals in this game to get the other goals and help with the win. And Nylander, he's been, like he has all year, solid offensively and in his defensive game as well. But it's just been terrific of what we've seen from this group. I think this is all we're going to talk about for the recap with the Flyers. I want to get more into this core four heating up. And we've seen so much talk about these group of players over this whole season. At the start, it was these guys aren't producing. Something got to change. Trade Marner, trade this guy, that guy. It was a full epiphany of what we've seen from this Toronto media. Now it's changed. Now it's these core four players are producing, but what about the depth? There's nothing there. Like, what is this team? There's not enough balance. They're too top heavy. Leaf fans, if I'm going to tell you anything, and if you're listening, pick a side. I think we've all done it pretty well. It's just annoying what we have to listen to on a daily basis when it's these guys are producing finally. Let us enjoy what we're seeing, because we haven't been able to see too much of enjoyment over this last couple of seasons with this Leafs team, particularly the beginning of the year where the top four were not producing. Now we're seeing it. So let's enjoy it. And let's worry about the depth when it's not producing, when we absolutely need it. And the core four are not producing, because it looks like the role sort of flip-flopped. Would you not agree, Evan?
Yeah, just to respond to that though, if this does continue to become a thing where it's just Matthews, Nylander, Marner producing, Jared, I know you're making that face, but what is this? I'm just saying, I'm telling you right now, when you're saying come playoff time, what team does this remind you of? And I'll give you a hint. They got swept in 4 games by Winnipeg. Okay, it's reminding me a little bit of the Edmonton Oilers, where you have guys like Leon Draisaitl, you have guys like Connor McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Tyson Barrie, Darnell Nurse. And we saw a lot of last year, granted a short 56-game season, but you always saw those 5 names on the score sheet. And if those 5 names weren't on the score sheet, Edmonton had a tough time winning. And this is the thing that now I'm noticing with the Leafs, because obviously once you get to the playoffs, it's a lot easier to lock down guys because you're playing them on a consistent basis. If the depth doesn't get started soon, this could be something like Edmonton down. Like, they have McDavid and Draisaitl, who are easily, if not the 2 best players in the NHL, and they still got swept against the Winnipeg Jets, who are a more complete team, where each line is able to produce on the offensive end. And it's also in that playoff series, they were only scoring 2 to 3 goals a night, where you had McDavid, who had 100 points in a 56-game season, and Leon Draisaitl, who shortly followed. Like, they should have easily been able to at least come away with 1 win. And I'm just worried that if something happens like how we've always seen with Marner, who shuts down come playoff time, and Matthews, who isn't the same goal scorer, I'm afraid of them not getting out of the first round again, because the bottom, like Kasha, I love, he scored a goal, like whatever, but they hadn't scored before. And I'm just noticing that issue, and I don't want deja vu just with a different team.
I hear you. And I mean, it's a fair point. I think the Leafs have been, both in the offseason, last season, because they're so similar in their makeup. So many extremely talented pieces up front in that top 6. And it just always is either really hot or it's not. Right now, we're seeing with the Edmonton Oilers a happy case where all their guys are producing, the depth's there, and the offense, the core 4 is there. Like, there's a full balance. And I 100% agree. You need a balance when you're heading into the playoffs, because a top-heavy team, like we saw with the Edmonton Oilers last year, and so many teams in the past, it's not going to get that far. But I think it's just right now what we're looking at. And I think this is what I'm trying to say, and I think Jared might have agreed with me here. It's just that it's a short sample size right now. Like, the top 4 is producing over the last week. The week before that, it was the depth that was producing. I think if this was a common theme all season, which we saw through the last 13, 14 games that they've played, and it's just the top 4 producing, then it gets a little, okay, what's wrong with the depth? We need to bring in maybe some guys that are going to spark something with this lower group, or something has to change. But I think it's just a streaky thing right now. I think the depth is there. It's just the big dogs are eating right now, and I think we just got to let them go at it. You want to comment a little bit more on it, Evan?
One last thing, and then I'll cut it to Jared and Adama. What I'm saying is, like, if this case becomes the theme, where it's 1 week that the depth is producing guys like Kasha, Bunting, Kerfoot, and then the next week is the core 4, Nylander, Matthews, Marner, and Tavares, that's not going to work come playoff time. 100%. So, and honestly, like, for Leaf fans, you shouldn't really give a crap about the regular season, because everyone knows the Leafs are good, but the playoffs are a different animal. And we've seen that these big dogs are getting thrown in the pound. Like, they're not producing come playoff time. So I really don't care that these core 4, whatever you want to call it, are scoring 16. Like, congratulations. Can you do that for me in April?
100%. I agree. And I think it's just, I think we're just trying to deal with the cards that we're dealt right now. I think we're just focusing on the regular season. That's why we're sort of analyzing this way. But I think your point is extremely fair. I think that's all we're trying to say. It's just that in the playoffs, these guys never show up. And I think that's exactly what you're alliterating to, because this is what we need. We need this sort of performance that we saw tonight, the game before, the game against Boston. We need all those performances to stack up and see it in the playoffs. The regular season doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter, because we're waiting for those playoff results, as we've talked so much about in this show. But again, you need to see these guys producing throughout the season to get a sort of general picture of what we're going to see come the postseason. So I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts as well, Jared. Turn it over to you, Adamo, as well. Jared, what did you think of the core 4, the talk about them and about this depth? I think we called it the what was it again? I just forgot.
The 8 mates.
The 8 mates. Jeez, I gotta write this thing down. The core 4 and the 8 mates. What do you make between them? And is it just too top heavy for the Leafs right now? Because it's looking that way. That's 16 goal streak was snapped by Casa. So I don't know. I think it's just a streaky thing. Do you agree with me on this, or is it?
Like, yeah, I agree. And what I keep looking at is what was the conversation piece when the Leafs are on their 4-game losing streak? Was, oh, the top 4 can't contribute. Could people like relax a little bit? I don't know. I hate the flip-flop of the narrative of at first, oh, the core 4 can't score. We're relying purely on our depth. Now all of a sudden our depth pieces start scoring. Oh, the team's screwed because the depth pieces aren't going now. I think people need to just like take a deep breath. Right now, our top 4 is clicking. What's happening? We won 5 games in a row. We lost our game against LA, and now we've won 6 of our last 7 games. I mean, our team is doing well, and it's showing that we're living and dying on our core 4. When our core 4 are going, our team's doing great. And when our core 4 aren't going, you saw how that went when we were down. We lost 4 games in a row. I do agree with the point Evan brought up, though, where I have an absolute issue with the way that the Edmonton Oilers are built, because their whole game plan is Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. When they aren't going, the team's absolutely screwed. And they're a team that even when I'm making my bracket challenge, my playoff predictions, I never am that high on the Edmonton Oilers because I completely don't like the way their team is built. I don't think the Leafs are as top heavy as the Oilers are. I don't mind our depth, and I think that we have depth pieces there. Jason Spetz is a great player. Wayne Simmons is a great player. Andre Cash is good. Nick Ritchie, today he looks great. And he has the pieces there that he should be able to pick it up and be an impactful depth player. We have Kerfoot, all these other players. So I don't think we're as top heavy as the Oilers. And I do think that the way our team is built should be able to contribute and work come playoff time. I mean, it's a great thing. Why are we complaining that our top 4 are working? And yes, obviously there's an issue that 16 straight goals were scored by our core 4 players. But I mean, let our core 4 get confident, and eventually our depth will start picking it up like they were at the beginning of the season when they were the only ones going. So I just think I hate the way the media and the narrative flips the story. And I hate the way where it's like in a week's time, oh, this is the issue on our team. Now all of a sudden you completely flip that on its head. It's like, no, it's still early in the season. Our team is doing well now. I mean, we're not at the issue where we're losing 4 in a row anymore. Our team is flying at the moment because our core 4 are contributing. Sure, the depth need to pick it up a little bit, but I mean, I'm not panicking yet because, I mean, it's a good thing. Why are we complaining about the guys we pay to score? Exactly. Like, I don't know. That's my kind of mindset on that. I do agree with Evan's point about an issue with the Edmonton Oilers, but I just don't see how that directly translates into the Leafs because I think we're a differently built team. And I actually do think we have depth pieces there. It's just a matter if they want to start contributing or not.
Can I ask one question, though?
Go ahead.
What round was Edmonton eliminated in? And what round were the Leafs eliminated in? I rest my case.
I'm not.
Go to the conference finals one year, though, to be fair.
Who?
Or at least
they went to the second round.
They went to the second round.
In game 7.
Okay, it happened. Meaning it can happen. If that's like what we're...
I'm not saying like press the panic button, but like, of course you want the top to get hot, but if you have a constant, like, I'm not saying it's a cause for concern, like shut the whole system down, but like if you're having these issues where one week it's the depth and then another week it's like a balanced team runs where each game different guys are scoring. And like if you want to look back at Winnipeg last year, like they had games where it was Kyle Connor, Matthew Perreault, Nikolai Ehlers, Andrew Kopp, Pierre-Luc Dubois, like they always had a consistent balance.
Give it one more week.
Okay.
One more week, and we will see how it works. No, because this, like, if it's 1 week, it's the depth. 1 week is the core 4. What if the next week after that it's both of them combined? Like, we're gonna just have to see, because you could be absolutely right, and it could be continuously flip-flopping, and that is obviously a problem that the Leafs are gonna have to nip in the bud as soon as possible. Right now, it's just, in my opinion at least, I don't know, it's just a streaky thing. Like, these guys were cold throughout the entire stretch of the opening season. Now they're hot. Now they're firing on all cylinders. So obviously this is expected when the group of players are hot at once. You're going to see all these guys producing. So I think it's fair to say, like, no arguments at all about the playoffs. These guys need to produce. There's got to be a balance. It's no question there. It's just right now, I think it's the big 4. They're hot. Let them run, and the depth is going to pick it up. Hopefully, pick it up in the next week. If it's the depth picking it up and the core 4 go silent, then we got a problem on our hands. I think that's something that's going to be more than talked about with this Maple Leafs team. And Adamo, I know you didn't get to talk much about it. Do you want to make any comments about it as well?
I know you guys pretty much hit on everything, but I will say, I still haven't switched that we need to get results because we're still not a playoff lock. Like I get we won 6 of 7. We also lost like 5 of 7 to start the season. So I'll take results however they come. We're talking, playoffs. I'll say it again. We need to get there first. Look at Florida. Florida's the team actually I was least scared of, and now look at them. Tampa's still Tampa, and Boston, although they've looked like shite, they aren't. So let's pump the brakes on the playoff talk. And like the Leafs are low key been carried by Jack Campbell. We're like not going to talk about that defensively. They've been a mess, and Jack Campbell's been our MVP beside King William. So yeah, let's maybe pump the brakes on the playoff talk and let's just focus on getting these results. And if it's the big four scoring, superstars score goals and they win. Tampa, Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, and Anthony Cirelli go quiet for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They don't win. This is how teams work. If Ovechkin doesn't score, neither do the Caps. Like, it's just how teams work.
The Leafs are just another team. Do you want to add something, Jared? Or
yeah, so I just wanted to add on that. I mean, of course, if you are talking about the playoffs completely, I'm not going back on what you're saying because I'm going to add on it, but yeah. I'm going to talk about the playoffs for 1 second. Of course, the team that ends up winning the cup is going to be that team where the core, not the core, the top 4 lines are all contributing. Of course, that's a thing, and of course, that's the dream, and that's what we want to happen in Toronto. But right now, in order to win games, it's showing that our core 4 needs to be contributing. And you look at those examples from around the league that Adamo was bringing up, and even look in all sports. I mean, if Tom Brady isn't lighting it up and throwing those great throws, I mean, the Buccaneers, I was about to say the Patriots, the Buccaneers aren't winning their Super Bowl. I mean, if Michael Jordan isn't playing like Michael Jordan, the Bulls don't win all those championships. Like at a point, the guys you pay the money, your big name guys, need to play like big name guys. And that was an issue we were complaining about. Why now, when Marner, Matthews, and Nylander are starting to look like those guys we expect them to be, why are we starting to complain? So I think that's just my issue with the way the media is reporting this story, the way people on Twitter are like reporting and talking about this story. Why are we complaining that our superstars are playing like superstars? I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. I agree. We absolutely need the depth to start figuring it out, need the depth to start contributing and being good players. But why are we complaining now that we're getting the wins and our superstar players are playing like we expect them and pay them to do?
C'est la vie. Let's live in the moment. I mean, it's just all we got to work with right now. Let's play the cards we're dealt. And I think we'll leave it at that. I mean, we've spoken, I think, just about everything we could say about this top-heavy offense and its comparison to the depth of this team. So I think we're going to move a bit off of that and just go quickly to a guy who hasn't been able to live in so many moments with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That is Peter Mrazek. It's the experiment hasn't looked too well with the Mrazek with him in goal. He has only played 1 complete game, which was a 5-4 win over the Detroit Red Wings. So allowing 4 goals in that start. So if you haven't heard, obviously, I'm sure you guys are all aware of it. Just for the fans, if they haven't heard, he was recently reacquainted with himself with the IR after retweaking his groin. So he's there for about a month, 4 weeks, could be possibly 5, who knows. I'm actually going to bring this up. It's a little off topic, but Evan, I interviewed you for my Vox Pop a while back for
I was just going to say,
the line that I heard so many times, at least 100 times when I was editing this thing, durability is going to be a concern this year, quoted by Evan Davis. And look where we are now. This guy cannot stay healthy. Evan, the king never misses, I guess, is what they say. And it's just, is this a definite dang it for Kyle Dubas? Because it's just week after week, it's looking ridiculous. Like he's not able to play at all, not able to put any momentum together. And it's just adding more salt to the wound when Freddie is tearing it up and putting up. If you told me this at the regular before we started, he'd be putting up Vezina numbers, I'd call you crazy, but here we are. And that's what he's putting up. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys make of the experiment with Peter Mrazek? Is it a failure yet? Are we ready to write him off? Because it's not like Nick Ritchie where he's not producing. He's not even playing. Like, I'll start with you, Evan, because you made the call so far back.
I mean, like, I hate to call someone's injury, but I when you had like just brought up this topic, I was like, I remember saying something about like the contract is a steal if he can stay healthy. Yeah. That's what I thought at the beginning, not at the beginning, when he signed the contract. And I was obviously in LA and I was talking to my dad and I was like, this is an interesting move because obviously Peter Mrazek did not play a lot last year either. And I thought, and I was saying to my dad too, I was like, 3 years seems a little too long of a commitment, especially for a guy like Peter Mrazek. And it's not a question of his talent. Like I said, durability is going to be an issue. And I struck gold on that, unfortunately. Like I knew that this was going to be a problem. And now that he eats up 3.25, something like that, like 3.25 million, maybe like 3 and some change of your, yeah. So a little over $3 million a year for 3 years. And he's only played 1 game, and he got injured in that game in Ottawa too. He only played 2 periods of the 3. Jack Campbell had to come in for that 3rd period, unfortunately. And look, I was never a fan of the move. I thought it was a little bit of a risky move by Kyle Dubas. Like, unfortunately, the market for goalies it wasn't good enough for the Leafs. Like, you obviously weren't getting Philip Grubauer. Freddie Anderson wanted out. It seemed like like a bridge had maybe been burned when Jack Campbell started getting a lot of the reps, but yet you're paying Freddie Anderson number one goalie dollars. And unfortunately, they had to take the risk on signing Peter Mrazek. And right now they're paying him to stay at home, and it's unfortunate. So, and I'm telling, like, and I just wanted to actually, this is going back to a Daniel's comment about Jack Campbell being the MVP. I think that's perfect for the Leafs that he is your MVP right now, because if you want to go back in ancient time to 2012 when the Kings won the Stanley Cup, the Conn Smythe winner was Jonathan Quick, and pardon my French, he was unfucking believable. He had 4 shutouts. A fourth of his wins were shutouts. And the amount of games that he saved for the Kings, like there were so many games they had zero business winning. It was Jonathan Quick who played like unreal. And if Jack Campbell can do that for the Leafs, then the Leafs can go past the first round. If he can play as the MVP, that's the only way they get past the first round.
And I mean, Jack Campbell was terrific last year. The only slip up was Game 7 against the Montreal Canadiens, where a couple goals scored on him he should have had. And that was the only reason why, the only shaky start to get, because otherwise in that series, he was the reason the Leafs were not just in it, but seeing some success. And Carey Price he got out-goalied. That's one thing that we cannot see come this postseason. And I really don't want to talk postseason because we're in November. So much season to play. But again, he got out-goalied in that series. It's going to be interesting to see if he does it this year. But so far this season, he hasn't been out-goalied so many times, because look at his numbers. Adamo, you mentioned it. Evan, you just touched upon it. He's been the MVP. But I want to bring the conversation back to Peter Mrazek, because it's an interesting thing. It's hard to analyze a guy fully and write him off when we haven't even seen the guy play more than 3-4 games. He's not a bad goalie. He's not even there. He's not even in the conversation. I don't know. Adamo, what do you make of Peter Mrazek's situation that he's in? What does it mean for the Leafs? And is it a failure for Dubas yet? Are you ready to write it off and sail that ship? Or are we just got to give it more time? Because we kind of knew heading in that this was in the fine print, that this could possibly happen with the Leafs, and it's coming full circle right now.
Yeah, I'm normally the Mr. Overreacty man, but in this situation, I'm going to say chill. Again, pump the brakes. It's quite literally been 2 games. It's been 13. I get it. He hasn't been healthy. But should we write Ilya Mikheyev off too? The guy lacerated his wrist, another injury, and then he broke his thumb. Like, okay, see Ilya, back to the KU go. No, he's going to come back, and he's going to play well for us. And same with Peter Mrazek. I get he has a history of injuries, but a lot of guys do. Remember Austin Matthews? Injuries were a concern with Austin Matthews. Remember, he had the back injuries, he had the head injuries, the shoulder injuries, the wrist injuries, and he's still with us. So, yeah, durability is a little bit of an issue, but who's to say in 4 weeks he doesn't come back and plays 30 games for us and puts up like a 915? Like, that could fully happen. So, I don't want to write him off just yet. I'll say that.
Get the kinks out now while you can. We knew injury was going to be something to worry about. At least we're getting it out of the way. Hopefully it plays out this way. Yeah. Hopefully we're getting them out of the way now, and he's going to be successful down the stretch when we're going to need him most. So I think that's all we're going to say about Peter Mrazek. Jared, I'm going to skip over to you for this because I want to get into this other thing. It's just
Should I
basically,
interject real quick? I'm sorry, like quick comment.
yeah, go ahead.
Adamo, it's different for goalies though, because it's
mean?
the recovery, like in terms of recovery process, it's so much different for goalies. And
That's
if
true.
you're looking at Mrazek's injuries, it's 100 times different. Like I think he can recover from it, but him getting back into A+ form is going to take at least 2 months for him to like.
For sure, but that's why Jack
But
Campbell's
yeah,
been like a starting
you're
goalie.
like, yeah, you're listing like skaters. It's easier for skaters to get adjusted. It's different
True.
for goalies because they're playing
True.
the full 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
There we go.
No, it's good. It's a good angle. I think it's I don't know, like this is just from a player's perspective. I played baseball my entire life. Obviously, I didn't play as much hockey, so the injuries were a little different. But a groin injury compared to a wrist injury in baseball were leaps and bounds. I would actually say the groin injury was a lot worse, considering you would always retweak it. It's a nagging injury that always comes back and haunts you. I'm sure it was the same for hockey. Every time I play hockey, I pull my groin. It's kind of concerning, but I don't know. Maybe it's the way I skate. My skating is
Duster.
like it. Yeah, we'll give, that's a fair assessment for me, man.
You want to
Wait till you see me get on. Anyways,
boy.
but no, that like the reason I say this is just to credit Evan's point. There's so many different injuries that work differently for so many players. Personally, baseball wise, it was just the groin injury that always nagged me. Just running every time you at least expect it, there it would come. The wrist injury, you would get it and it would be nipped in the bud for a little bit and then it would open up sometime down the stretch. So hopefully, I know Peter Mrazek's dealing with the groin injury. Hopefully we deal with the kinks right now. And I know we're just about a month into the NHL season. I want to just quickly throw this by you. Hopefully we can get through this one a little bit quick. What's one word you would use to wrap up this Leafs talk we've been on for quite a while now? We've ran pretty long in this Leafs talk, which is never a bad thing, but what's one word you would describe used to describe this Toronto Maple Leafs team, man, I'm butchering this one, through 13, 14 games of the season? Jared, I'll start with you.
Unfortunately, I'm going to use the word inconsistent. I mean, we've had great games and off games. Like we've been a little bit inconsistent. Obviously we had the 5 wins in a row, but we also used those 5 games in a row to follow up 4 losses in a row. So I'd like to see a little bit more consistency down the stretch.
What about you, Adama? Which word are you whipping for the Maple Leaf season so far?
I've been thinking of a bunch of words as Jared was speaking.
Swear words?
One thing, no. These ones I can say in front of kids. Interesting. It's been very interesting. I feel like we don't normally, like I feel like last year we kind of just went into the season, we started winning shit and that was it. But this year, like there's like a million storylines and that could be like the entire NHL, to be honest. Like I feel like a million things are happening at once and then we just happen to be intertwined with the Leaf stuff, but I'll go with the word interesting.
And Evan, to wrap it up, what's one word you would use to describe your first season watching the Toronto Maple Leafs in full picture? You're getting the full slice here.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I watched them back home, we had, but I would say confusing.
Confusing. It's a fair state. All the statements you guys are making are fair. I mean, so many words, good words and the bad, can mix in with this Maple Leafs team to start the year. If you rewind the tape 2 weeks ago, there's going to be a lot of bad ones there, but slowly starting to even out for this team. We're seeing it from the top 4. The depth, I'm hoping, is going to come pick it up. Mrazek, he's on the shelf. Hopefully, when he's back, it's the end of his injuries. And I think that just slightly recaps all we've talked about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we use words so like interesting, inconsistent, all that jazz to talk about the Leafs. Some of these teams that I'm about to get into can wrap all those words into one. And I'm talking the Colorado Avalanche, the New York Islanders, and even I threw in this team, bit of a surprise, the Seattle Kraken. I'm going to give my take a little bit just because they're last in the Pacific. We said this Pacific Division heading in. Evan, me and you did a show on this, so I think we know most about it here. We gave the Pacific Division a pretty low rank. We thought it was going to be one of the least competitive ones because we thought the California teams were going to scuffle a little bit. They were in the sort of middle to early stages of the rebuild, so they're starting to slowly make their way. We didn't expect them to be extremely competitive, but look at how it's going now. You got the Ducks in there, the Flames, the Oilers, all sitting atop the division. The reason why I throw in the Seattle Kraken in some surprising teams, because I don't know if it's just me, maybe I'm just having a little more hype on this team than most, but I thought they'd have a little bit better than a last place. Were we considering last place heading in? Evan, I'll go with you because you're giving me the deadly eyes here.
Yeah, like look, I can't really like diss on him because I had him last year in fantasy, but I knew Philip Grubauer was overrated. And the only reason I took Philip Grubauer was because I knew he played for the Colorado Avalanche, and I knew the teams that they were playing were going to be horrible. So I knew Philip Grubauer was going to be a great goalie because the team in front of him from top to bottom, and I'm saying 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, were unbelievable. Like they made life easy for him. Like Grubauer did have to play on his heels some games, but he had so much confidence in him because he knew that if he gave up a goal or something, like he has Nathan McKinnon to snipe one, Mikko Rantanen to snipe one. So I knew that going in, he would get paid high, but I knew that he wasn't going to be the same goalie. And that was the reason why I stayed away from him in fantasy this year, because I just knew it wasn't going to be the same production. Like I knew he wasn't going to be another Vezina candidate. And in terms of Seattle as a whole, I think we're getting too spoiled with Vegas. And I said this during our Pacific Division talk. A lot of GMs weren't around in 2003 when the Atlanta Thrashers and Minnesota Wild, or 2000 maybe, the year 2000, when the Minnesota Wild and the Atlanta Thrashers integrated into the NHL, and there was the last expansion draft. So they didn't really know what to do. And George McPhee, credit to him, kind of fleeced teams into making deals so that they wouldn't take players. And then the Vegas Golden Knights acquired draft capital, which allowed them to get Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty, now Jack Eichel. They were able to bring in Marc-Andre Fleury. They were able to acquire Robin Leonard. Like just teams didn't know what to do, and they really didn't know how to handle it. And I'll even say the Kings, like they gave up Braden McNabb, and they kept Derek Forbort instead. And I thought that was a horrible move. And Braden McNabb ended up being an enforcer defenseman for Vegas for a few years. And teams just gave up players that I think, looking back on it, they were like, crap, like we should have protected him instead. So it was a little bit hard for Rob Francis in Seattle to kind of fleece teams into being like, oh, like we'll take a second round pick. Like we won't take this guy instead. And they weren't able to do that.
100%. And I mean, I think we talked about it immensely in the offseason talk. I think that was the main storyline around the Seattle Kraken. Ron Francis unable to get it done, not just on his own part, but because of what happened around him. The Vegas Golden Knights sort of stole the show. And it's hard to be the second one when you're in the limelight of such a giant like the Vegas Golden Knights. So I think that might be a storyline touching upon Seattle. I just didn't think they'd be this bad, but I guess we'll have to wait and see about them. And I know you mentioned the Colorado Avalanche when you were discussing Philip Grubauer. In 12 forwards, 6D in front of him, they were all stellar. And it's nothing like that this season to open up the first month and a little bit of the regular season. Because if there's one song they're maybe playing in the Colorado dressing room, and I'm going to stay on the Olivia Rodrigo train, it's got to be Brutal, because it's been a struggle for them. And oh God, yeah, that was smooth though. That was smooth.
Yeah,
that was smooth. No, but I mean, you look at all the injuries they faced too. You got Rantanen, he was out for a little bit. Now you got McKinnon, which we learned today is going to be out. I believe it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks
with I want to say lower body injury.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're just feeling with so many problems on their own end, and not to mention that they sit 6th in the Central Division with a 4-5-1 record. Jared, what do you make of the Colorado Avalanche? We talked about them before, and you gave your thoughts on them as well. We thought they were going to get a little bit out of this rut because they're a talented team. Talented teams find ways to win, but these guys just haven't moved. And I know they haven't played that much hockey since then, but I don't know. It's just still not looking promising for this team. What's up with these guys?
I mean, if we're going back to what we did with the Leafs, in one word, disappointing. I mean, of course they're missing Nathan McKinnon, who is, of course, obviously their best player, but they still have so many other superstars around them. I mean, 2 out of the 3 parts on considered one of the best lines in the league are still there. I mean, obviously they're missing Nathan McKinnon, but Mikko Rantanen and Gabriel Landeskog should still be able to hold the fort there in Colorado. And I mean, they have Cale Makar. Bowen Byram's actually looked solid as a defenseman. I picked him up in one of my fantasy leagues. So, like, they have guys that are looking fine. It's just the team itself isn't able to string together any consistent wins. And Darcy Kemper isn't exactly being as good as we hoped he would be. I'm not going to say as good as we expected, because we did know, or at least assume, that goaltending would take a little bit of a step back when they brought him in. But overall, I mean, the team's just been very disappointing. There are a lot of people's picks, including mine, to ultimately go all the way and win the Stanley Cup. And they have such a good team there. And to see it ending up like this is just incredibly disappointing.
And high ceiling, high anticipation, but no results to show for it on at least a month and a little bit into the season. There's nothing substantial for them to prove that they can go far, like we mentioned in the preseason when we were talking about this team, hyping them up, getting a bit of a scout of what they're going to look like on paper and on ice. And I don't know, they just haven't. I'm sure it's not going to be like this the entire year. This is, I think, a fair point on them. They have too much talent to not sit sixth in the Central Division for this long. I think in a month from now, they're going to be in totally different waters. And if they're not, then you're going to have to start looking at some really in-depth on your team, what piece they're clicking, what is not. And the guy who is not, Darcy Kemper, man, it's just been ugly for him in Colorado. And I know he's dealt with so many injuries in the past with Arizona Coyotes, but I didn't expect them to be this slow out of the gate. And I think that's another thing that's mixing in the pot for the Colorado Avalanche. And the reason why they're just so slow out of the gate, we thought they'd speed up. Nothing but the case. They're as slow as a turtle, and hopefully they're going to speed it up a little bit. And Adamo, I'm going to assign you with the New York Islanders sort of thing. I guess I'm going to give you guys all three teams to dissect. Islanders are 5-3-2, so not as bad as these other teams here. They're at least got a positive record going, but they still sit seventh in the Metro Division. Now the Metropolitan is a competitive one. So many factors in that division. So many teams that are producing and teams that are ready to win now. I think the New York Islanders, we expect them to do very well. Such a complete team from top to bottom, and their defense is par to none. They're terrific, and they get it done night in, night out, the way they're coached, the way they're managed. Barry Trotz does a tremendous job with this group. We've seen regular season success and postseason success with the Islanders, but right now, sitting a month in, we're not seeing that much success yet. Is it something that concerns still? Because last time we were talking about the Islanders, they were also sitting around the bottom of the league. Is it something to panic about, or is it just another thing where slow start, but they're going to heat it up?
Yeah, honestly, I guess I've become the let's pump the brakes here type of guy on this podcast today. But the Islanders have never been a regular season team. If you look, every time they make the conference finals or they go on a deep playoff run, they never actually are supposed to. Like in the standings, they'll finish second, they'll finish third. Okay, first wild card spot. They're more of a playoff team. So, like I'm just looking at their guys' numbers right now. Like I guess Matt Barzal can kind of step it up. 7 points in 10 games isn't the greatest, but it's not bad. I'd take a guy who gets that. There's not much to say. Ilya Sorokin's been unreal, but that could also be a product of playing with on the Islanders. I feel like they're one of those teams that can make goalies look good. Your starters also coming back. Semyon Varlamov, he played I think one game and lost. So we'll probably pump the brakes. But I can't say one thing. I did want to say one thing on the Colorado Avalanche quickly. You guys know I kind of like stats. The Colorado Avalanche are 6th in the NHL in expected goals and 6th last in the NHL in goals for. Meaning a team with this much talent, like the Colorado Avalanche, they're going to regress, meaning they're going to go back to what they're supposed to do. And the league isn't ready for it. Like I'm predicting like they're going to have a historic run once McKinnon gets back. So
I guess with stats, numbers don't lie. They just aren't getting the puck in the back of the net. And it's looking like the expected goals. I'm not a big stat guy, but it's just the luck is not there. I guess you could say. Is that not a fair? Am I reading it wrong?
No, that is. Like, even the Leafs were like underperforming their expected goals. And would you look at that? They have a ridiculous shooting percentage the last 6 games.
Yeah, and I mean, not similar teams in this respect of playoff success, but similar teams in the way they're structured and a little bit of the anticipation around them. We got high anticipation for the Leafs and also the Colorado Avalanche. So like I mentioned before, I expect them to put it together in a month's time. When McKinnon comes back, I can totally see that happening because he's just star players do star-like things. And I think he's just another example of that. He's done it throughout his career. And I think he's going to just keep up the pace. I think this is why I don't really ever like looking at the standings so early. I also still think a month is way too early to look at standings. Personally, when I'm ever looking at standings, I really start paying attention 3 months in because they don't really mean nothing to me. The Leafs, I don't care where they're sitting in the standings as long as they're playing well and they're staying afloat, because off the eye test, you kind of know where they're sitting. But I don't know, standings never meant too much for me. And I don't know if it's going to mean too much for the teams I'm about to mention, because I don't know if it's way too sustainable. I'm going to let you guys pick at it in just a bit. But the Detroit Red Wings, they're sitting second in the Atlantic, 7-5-2. Let's put some respect on their name because they haven't seen much of it in the last couple of seasons. Good to see them sort of starting to pull it together. Again, I personally don't think it's sustainable. I think you guys might jump on the boat with me. And the St. Louis Blues, 8-2-1. They sit first in the Central. We had them, I remember very, very distinctly, we had them sitting just on the outside looking in, some of us on the playoff picture, and on that borderline last spot. I don't know, Jared, did you predict them finishing number one?
No. I had Colorado number one. I had St. Louis number two.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking pretty solid right now. Everything's shipping up to top shape here. But I want to ask you, which teams will fade more? Would it be the Detroit Red Wings? I expect to see a big fade from them. St. Louis Blues, they've been off to a terrific start again, first in the Central with an 8-2-1 record. But I don't know. Was it too good to be true? And even so, I want to bring it back to the Pacific Division. The Ducks have been red hot. Troy Terry is looking like Wayne Gretzky out there. Like, Jesus Christ, that guy is terrific. I have him in my fantasy league with a bunch of my buddies back home, and he's paying dividends right now. You got the LA Kings.
NHL, eh?
Yeah,
NHL in points.
He's ridiculous, man. The LA Kings, like we mentioned before, they're winners of 6 straight. And San Jose, they had a hot start, but it's starting to even out a little bit. I mentioned them when we were talking about this before. I knew that they were going to fade, and now we're starting to see it happen. Is it going to be the same message we're going to be seeing with the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks? Evan, what do you make of it? I know you got a pretty strong grasp on the California trio.
Yeah, well, now they want to do well when I leave. Like, what the hell? Like, what's this? I mean, look, Troy Terry has been unbelievable right now. He's definitely one of the guys that's carrying the load for the Anaheim Ducks, and I'm just so happy for him because, like, he had a little difficult path getting to the NHL. He had some stints these past couple of years where they gave him NHL time, like they gave him time up in Anaheim, and then like gave him a 5-game window, just didn't work out, sent him back down to San Diego. Like they really wanted this guy to do well. And now that he's finally doing well, I'm just so happy for him because he's definitely going to be there for a long time, along with Jamie Drysdale, Trevor Zegras, Mason McTavish is there. They got a great squad down there. In terms of the Kings, man, like I wanted them to get Jack Eichel. I thought having that center core with Kopitar and Eichel, and then you also have Deneau, like that could have been really great. And the teams that win are the teams that have shut down an elite centerman, and the Kings would have had 3 of those. And at least until Kopitar leaves in a couple of years of age, then you have your 2 right there. And it's not like cap space would have been an issue for the Kings to re-sign Eichel if he wanted to, but I understand that like he's in his prime. He wants to win a Stanley Cup. Like I get it. Like, I don't know if it is sustainable because I've always seen these spurts with Jonathan Quick in terms of LA, obviously, where he looks like his old self, the 2014, 2012 self, and then he'll go back to being the mediocre 33, 34-year-old goaltender that has really just lost his touch. So I'm not ready to say, like, I think the Kings could possibly make the wild card. I am a fan of Calvin Peterson. I think he's been great, but I don't think they can have like that sustainable 1-2 goalie. I don't have that belief in Quick anymore.
Now, I mean, I can see it not being as sustainable for these trio teams, but do you see one of these California teams? Would you go as far as 2? Like, has the beginning of the season so far in a month's time is not a little bit, but it's not too much. Like, it's a somewhat decent amount. Do you see 1 or 2 of these teams edging into the playoffs? I know it's early, and I know I don't want to spark these talks, but they look pretty good, much better than we expected.
Yeah, I would definitely take the Kings over the Ducks just for the fact that the Ducks are a much younger team, and I do like the acquisitions that LA made. Getting a guy like Alex Edler, I think, is huge for guys like Matt Roy and Sean Walker, who now is unfortunately out for the year. But I thought that would have been a huge, just veteran presence. And he's also a guy who's just not afraid to block a shot for your team. And obviously, getting Philip Deneau for such a long time now, like you can start to develop elite centermen with Tyler Madden and all that. But I think like right now, I think they need to make a trade before the deadline to acquire another defenseman. Cale Clog has been great. But yeah, I think they're trending in the right direction. I think they have the right leadership for it. They still have the leadership from the 2012, 2014 run. So I would give them the edge there.
I think I'd have to side with you there. They just got so many pieces that have done it before. And I think that's an undermined fact when you're dealing in all these cards with teams. I think the LA Kings have a lot more to bring to the table than the youngsters do in Anaheim, which will be good in a couple of years, but let's pump the brakes on them. I think Adamo might have done that one for me a little bit better, but let's pump the brakes on the Ducks and even the San Jose Sharks. I knew they were going to be a fader. I knew it was a really just hot run to start the year. There's just nothing really substantial there. And I just want to move the table along to the Red Wings and just briefly touch upon the St. Louis Blues as well. Adamo, what did you make of the Red Wings? I know they're 7-5-2, second in the Atlantic. I don't know if it's sustainable. Maybe you'll back me on that as well or go against it, but the young guys are looking really good. Sider, Raymond, and we gave them some love last week when we gave the post game with the Red Wings and we dissected that team there. But again, they're still finding ways to win. Something I didn't really think we'd see from the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, I couldn't go the whole podcast with pumping the brakes. Let's freaking accelerate on the Detroit Red Wings. I love this team so much. I love their players. I think Tyler Bertuzzi is a great player, maybe not necessarily a human being, but great player. Lucas Raymond is not only looking like the Calder favorite, but he's looking like this guy could make an all-star team good. 14 points in 14 games. And not only, were you going to say something?
Can I propose one thing? I just want your clean take right here.
Say it.
Who's better, Raymond or Lafreniere?
I thought you were going to say Kaprizov, and I was going to hit you. So far, Raymond. I don't even think that's a discussion. Would Evan drop? yeah, right. You know, I actually wanted to do that, to drop a prediction in the yearbook, but even Mo Sider, I thought I liked Mo Sider at the time. I think I drafted him 2019, 6th overall. And that was a ridiculously stacked draft, and you kind of see this defenseman who was supposed to go in the late 20s going 6th. You're all like, what the hell? He's been insane too. And I don't think these are rookie, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Beginner's luck, I guess. I think these are really, really good players. I don't think they'll make the playoffs just because of how stacked the Atlantic and Metros are. But in terms of sustaining and winning, I could see them being last year's New York Rangers.
And just to touch upon one last thing for the Red Wings, I want to keep the line moving and get into the St. Louis Blues with Jared. But I honestly thought I'd see a little more what we're seeing from the Red Wings. And I was really high. You guys go look back at the tape. I was really high on the New Jersey Devils, if you guys remember. And I was expecting to see this sort of style from the Devils team. It's just not working out yet. I'm gonna still give it some time. Let the wine mature here, but I don't know. It's
Remember,
just
the Devils are loose. They don't have their best forward.
No, exactly. They've got some different. They got a situation brewing down in New Jersey, totally different from Detroit. They at least got their guys playing in Detroit, unless they're playing in Canada when they're not a full roster. But this team's looking good. The Red Wings team. I think that's all I want to say about them. Don't want to complicate it too much, but I don't want to keep it simple. Let's let this Red Wings team fly. And one last thing, St. Louis Blues, Jared. You were high on them to start the year. You're pretty right now. So what do you make of them? Are they going to fade at all, or I didn't expect 8-2-1 good St. Louis Blues. I thought maybe 5-2-2. This is ridiculous. They're at 8 wins.
First of all, before I'm going to get into the Blues, I want to talk about the Red Wings a little bit. As much as I like their team, I love that the young players are clicking. It reminds me a lot of the 16-17 Leafs. I'm actually gonna pump the tires a little bit on them, purely just because of the division. And look, see, tonight with the Leafs win, the Leafs actually jumped ahead of them. So the Leafs are now second in the Atlantic, with the Red Wings third. And the Lightning are currently sitting with 2 games in hand. They're currently 1 point back. The Bruins, with 4 games in hand, are currently 4 points back. So I mean, they're as good as they've been. They're not secured with the top dogs just yet. And as much as I'd like to see those young guys continue flying, those young guys maybe push this team on a miraculous run into the playoffs, I really just don't see it happening. And as cool as a story as it would be, I just don't see it happening this year. I think they have a bright future ahead with that team. I mean, I see Evan put in the chat yearbook quote, Red Wings winning the cup in 2026. I mean, Sure, maybe in 2026 they'll be a cup contender. I don't think they're ready to be that this year. And I personally, I see them being on the outside looking in. Ultimately, there's a chance they maybe squeak in, but I just don't see it. I mean, they're not as good as they've been. They're not secure enough in a playoff spot yet. And the teams like the Lightning and Bruins have yet to really get going and start playing like the dangerous teams that we know that they can be. So I'm just not ready to say that they're solidified as a top dog in the Atlantic just yet. I like what I'm seeing from the young players, as Adamo mentioned. Ruud Seider's been unbelievable. Lucas Raymond, this guy is looking like a lock for the Calder at this point, as early as it is. So I really like the story there in Detroit, but I'm just not too sold on it just yet. Now, of course, to get into the St. Louis Blues, which was what I was asked about. Yes, I agree. I don't think they're going to be as dominant as the season goes on. I do think the Avalanche will eventually take over and end up being the kings of the Central Division. But I just like what I see with that team. I mean, there's a ton of stars on that team and a lot of young guys as well, like Jordan Kyrou, for example, who's stepping up this year. I mean, from top to bottom, I genuinely have a lot of confidence in that lineup. I'm trying to think of what to say. I'm looking at the lineup right now on Daily Faceoff, but I mean, in general, they have guys like Ryan O'Reilly, Vladimir Tarasenko, a lot of great players, and as well, Jordan Kyrou's looked really good. And just in general, they have a lot of pieces there that I'm pretty confident in. And this team is thriving because Jordan Binnington is doing well. I mean, even though he's fucking faking people out with those fake hits for whatever reason he wants to do that, being an instigator. But I don't know. I like the team, and I don't know why people were so down on them going into the season. I think they're one of the top dogs in that Central Division. And I mean, obviously I have the Colorado Avalanche winning, but I mean, I think they're just as good as a team like the Winnipeg Jets and teams such as that. I mean, you look at that lineup from top to bottom. Yes, it's not stellar. I don't see them recreating their run in 2019 where from January on where they were absolutely untouchable and ended up winning the Stanley Cup. But I like what I see there. I think they should be maybe, if not this dominant moving forward the rest of the year. But I mean, I think they still should be competitive for the rest of the year. I think they should have no problem making the playoffs. And I think they should be a competitive team once they get there. I, again, don't see them winning the cup or anything such as that, but I like what I see on this team, and I have no reason to say that they should go down moving forward. I'm trying to think of how to word that, but I mean, I have no reason to believe that they're going to start struggling from here. I think they should just get better, and if even if the record isn't as ridiculous by the end of the year, I think they should have no problem being a second or third place team in the Central Division. I think they're a really good team, actually.
And I just think the vast majority was down on them heading into the year was just because you needed guys, like you mentioned, Jordan Binnington, such a big question mark last year. You needed a guy like him to really step up. And again, heading into the year, he was a huge question mark. He's beginning to put up some answers. And those are reasons why he stole a lot of games for the St. Louis Blues over the course of this year. And I think that's one of the major reasons why they're up, like you said. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people sort of didn't bite us well on the St. Louis Blues team. They have one thing that many teams don't have, and I think it was evident when they won the cup. They have fight, and this team really doesn't like losing. And you can see it from the way they're built, the way they're coached, the way they're managed, the way the players play on the ice, their forechecks, the whole style of game they play and bring to the table. They always put up a fight and something different that other teams don't bring to the game. And I think that's something that not many people look at. The players are stepping up, but those players have a mental something turning in the back of their head that's saying, listen, we got to get to this puck first. I know it sounds pretty basic. All teams should be doing this, but it looks like more years than not. And when they're rolling, the St. Louis Blues are hitting that one to the T. So I think that's all we got to say about St. Louis. I don't expect them to be, like you mentioned, Jared. I don't think they're going to be 8-2-1 good for the rest of the year. They're probably going to get overtaken by the star-studded lineup of the Colorado Avalanche, but let's enjoy the St. Louis Blues while they last, because they're not playing the Blues right now, and they're definitely on a hot run. See if it keeps up. And I think that's all I want to say about this team. Before we get into the Jack Eichel situation, we have finally come to a close. Evan, you're probably going to get the most screen time you've ever had on the show when I throw it over to you. But I just want to introduce the topic because Jack Eichel, on the show at least, he brings a sort of soft spot to these episodes, because since we started this show, it was all the way back in Valentine's Day of last season. That's when the trades talks sort of started churning a little bit with Jack Eichel. And I can tell you, every single week, I have it, my buddy on the show, he knew a lot about the Jack Eichel. He's a huge fan of him. He would always bring up the news around him, the rumors and his takes, all that kind of stuff. And he predicted that these rumors would sort of come out. And it's just how this trade has sort of grown with the show. It's sort of an attest to how much the show has come along. So I just want to say that before we get into the meat and potatoes of Jack Eichel making his way to Vegas, because this situation has been brewing for quite some time, and it just shows how far the show has come. So he's finally going to, now the guy who's taken up most of our show, Mr. Evan Davis, he's finally going to his team. Now I'm going to bring up the trade before I throw it over to you. So Jack Eichel was finally, after long negotiations, long hard fought nights of him, uncertainty, billboards being put up in Buffalo of get him to this team, get him out of Buffalo, let him escape the fire. He has finally been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. A 2023 third round pick made its way to Vegas as well, in exchange for forwards Alex Tuch and Peyton Krebs, a 2022 first rounder and a 2023 second rounder. And Jack Eichel will finally be allowed to proceed with his surgery that will likely sideline him for 3 to 5 months. And one thing I want to say about the pick is that it is top 10 protected. So I believe that means if Vegas finishes, I don't see this happening, but if they were to finish so low in the league that they get a top 10 pick, or maybe they win the lottery, who knows of the way this stuff works, they would not get the top 10 pick. So Buffalo would not get that pick. I think they get a second round pick or something like that.
No. So basically what happens
you probably know
is
more than me.
If Vegas doesn't finish in the top 10, Buffalo gets their first round pick next year.
Right. Okay.
So if, like, God forbid, Vegas finishes in the top 10, it's Buffalo's pick. If they don't, it's Buffalo's first round. Buffalo gets Vegas's first round pick next year.
Okay. Yeah, it makes much more sense. But again, I'm going to just let you talk over here. What did you make of the trade? And more so was maybe trying to focus on this. I thought there was an interesting angle to look at it. Was the injury really the main reason that Jack Eichel got moved, or was it maybe the last domino in a series of things that sort of led to his trade? Like, was there other things maybe pouring in? You could rewind it years prior. Was there any other things pouring into him leaving Buffalo, or is it just strictly injury based? Couldn't get the surgery. That's the only reason why he's getting out of here.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, Jack Eichel is a guy who, I mean, like, I'll do a timeline back to when he was even with the NTDP, and he's known as a winner. And then he goes to Boston College and wins the Hobey Baker in his freshman year. I think he had like 69 points in 41 games. Like, he was unbelievable. Like, he's a guy who's used to winning. And unfortunately, when you're that good of a talent at age 18, you go to a crappy team, and that's how the draft lottery is. And unfortunately, Buffalo is just a tough market because, one, they're not known for having success, and two, it's also just, it's a tough city. Like, Buffalo is not like a very attractive city for guys to go to. It's cold most of the time. Like, there's nothing really there. I mean, it doesn't really scream top market. And so that was definitely one of the issues. I listened to the Spitting Chicklets podcast that he did like immediately after getting traded. And he also just said that management was an issue. When the general manager got fired, I want to say 3 years ago, they brought in a new set of management, and they didn't click. And Jack Eichel finally got to the point in his career. He understands, I believe he's now 24 or 25, and he understands that this is his prime, and he doesn't want it to go to waste. And he just said, like, if you want to do a rebuild, make me the guy that gets you the players, because I'm just done. And the surgery then after that definitely played a huge factor. I think that was about 80% of the meat as to why he wanted to get out of there, because they weren't letting him control his own body. And you don't really see that issue. Like, usually teams are pretty lenient with players saying, like, okay, like, if this is what your agent's recommending, like, go for it. And that's why Vegas was like, do it. Like, we don't care. And I'm a little frustrated that it took that long for him to get traded. I think Jack Eichel is too, because it's not like the return of Buffalo got for Eichel was anything extraordinary, to say the least. Like, Alex Tuch's a great player. Peyton Krebs can be a great player, but they're not going to be Jack Eichel. And I think it was very selfish on Buffalo to do what they did. Now Eichel's out until about March. He could have started the season maybe in November with whatever team he got traded to. And I think right now it's going to be very difficult for them to recruit anyone. As if it wasn't any harder before, it is 1,000 times harder, because whatever Jack Eichel says, the NHL is going to believe.
100%. That is a very interesting angle you take. And it's just something that doesn't get as much attention because it's more on the inside thing, where you're looking at what players say between other players, what managers sort of negotiate in the off season, during the season, what's happening on the inside of the lines. And it's definitely going to spill over. I think Jack Eichel's the first domino to fall, if you will, because we haven't seen something like this happen in recent time, where a player wanted to get a surgery. Usually teams are relatively okay with it. I know the surgery is a little bit of a different one. It's more of a, I don't want to say hit or miss, but it's relatively new. We don't know too much about it. Buffalo, now you got to see kind of where they're coming from. They wanted to play it safe. This is their generational talent on the line. And I'm sure if it was the Leafs or any other team that has some top players in the league, the Edmonton Oilers, they would want to play it safe as well. But they didn't allow him to get the surgery, and this is what had to happen from it. Now, Evan, I just want to ask you, because I feel like I'm going to turn this Eichel situation, this talk, more to you, and then we're going to move on. What did you make of the deal? Like, is this something that Vegas is like, they just skyrocketed to favorites to hoist the cup? Or because this team, I was looking at the lines, and oh boy, was the media really heavy on giving me the scoop on what the lines are going to look like when everyone's healthy. That team, they look dangerous when everyone is back and firing. Like, what do you make of that? Just your thoughts on the trade.
Yeah, I don't know if the media really took into account the cap situation that Vegas now has to face. Like, understand, they traded away Marc-Andre Fleury, who was only making $7 million. Jack Eichel's making 10. And I understand that they traded Alex Tuch. He's only making $4.5 million. And Peyton Krebs is still in the entry-level deal. So he's making less than $1 million. So I don't know. Like, I think the media was like kind of saying, if everyone is healthy, like, this is what an ideal lineup can look like. But you got to understand, guys like Riley Smith, William Karlsson, and Jonathan Marchessault are all making somewhere around $4 to $5 million. And that's their second line. And then your first line, you have Mark Stone, I believe, is making, I want to say around like $8 million. I don't know. I know Max Pacioretty's also around $8 million. You got Alex Pietrangelo, who's making around like $7 million. I don't know the contract for Shea Theodore, but I know Alec Martinez is also making around like $3.25, maybe close to $4 million. So I'm curious to see what this team looks like when Jack Eichel is back, because I know their lines aren't going to be the same way that the media is perceiving it, because Jack Eichel makes more than Marc-Andre Fleury, and they got rid of Marc-Andre Fleury for a prospect who probably won't be seeing much of Vegas or Henderson. I don't know where the hell he is, but it was I was surprised when Vegas got him, because I was like, how do you move on from Fleury, but you're like, we'll take Eichel?
And I think that might be what it's going to boil down to. We got rid of Fleury, and I think this might be a way that the Vegas Golden Knights are trying to digest it. We got rid of Fleury, freed up cap space, and in exchange, we made some room for, I would probably consider, when he's healthy and when he's firing, a top 5 player in this league. And it's, I guess that's just another case of the checks and balances that is the National Hockey League. And I don't want to spend too much time on Jack Eichel, because I feel like throughout the entire year, we've sort of chimed in our thoughts on what this means and how this situation evolves. So I think everyone listening knows the storyline, all that kind of stuff. So I want to end it here on the Jack Eichel talk, and I want to bring it to probably the most famous segment on this show. It is time for season 2, episode 8 of the trivia. Oh, guys,
Jared, the buzzer works. You asshole.
Trigger Fingers is getting happy, excited, and I don't blame him, because we got a fun one today. Lots of cool questions, and I'm gonna give the disclosure to the audience. Shuffled up the cards a little bit, and I'm gonna deal with these guys a little bit of some surprising ones, but I want to make this one clear. We have a couple questions. This was brought up by, I'm going to give him full credit, Jared here. He came to me and told me that we can maybe bring it a little bit more interesting to the table, and say, listen, we're going to have one guy list. It could be any situation whatsoever. List them and see how far they can go. If you remember, we went into the NHL covers where Evan dropped the ball immensely. He couldn't get past the 2050.
We don't need to bring up ancient history, my guy. Like, dude, I was in my feels after that. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't blame you. But again, it's going to be sort of that style for some questions where you have to name stuff from a list. And if one guy can't get it, the next guy's got to step up, name everything that he went on, and try to finish it. I'm sure once I explain it and we go through it, you guys are going to understand. It'll make much more sense. But why not get it started right now? So question 1 of season 2. Oh, I love it.
I love those, Jared.
Rocket, baby. Rocket. Anyways, question 1 of season 2, episode 8. Here we go. So, the St. Louis Blues and Minnesota Wild will be participating in this season's Winter Classic to open up the new year. Which teams played in the Winter Classics over the last 7 years? So, since 2012. 2013, I'll give you the disclaimer, did not hold a game due to the lockout. Evan, you got your hand up first. Can you name me the Winter Classics from last season? So I guess that would be 2020, all the way down to 2012.
Okay, well, there wasn't a Winter Classic last year, obviously, because of the shortened season. So I know Nashville and Dallas played. Does it matter what order I go in, or can I just list the teams?
It matters which way you go in. Yeah. So you got to go 2020, 2019, 2018. So
like I can't
jump from like a 2020 to a 2018.
Oh, okay. So like I can't just like list the teams that were in it.
No, you got to go 2020, which teams? 2019. This is why it's getting a little tricky.
Okay. So 2019 was Nashville and Dallas. I believe 2018 was Chicago and St. Louis.
Skirt them out.
Wait, what?
Is that not wrong?
Say it again.
I said Chicago.
I don't put my tab here. So what was 2019?
I said 2019 was Dallas and Nashville.
Yeah, kind of.
There you go. He's already gone.
Wait, what?
2020 was Dallas and Nashville. Remember when Perry got ripped out of the game first period?
Jeez, that was already 2020.
I know, it goes by fast.
Like right
Dude, I forgot that COVID happened in March. It's been so long.
Yep.
All right, so you're already booted. We got
I
maybe
probably
a
wouldn't have gotten that far anyway.
It is. I couldn't do it either on my first try, but Donald, see if you can pick up.
COVID's been so long.
How far do I have to go?
Got to go till 2012, and 2013 didn't have a game. And then whoever gets closest will get the point. If you guys
son of a bitch told me that.
So Evan didn't make too much of a dent.
Oh man, because I couldn't even think of the. Okay,
all right.
So 2020 was the Dallas Stars, or the Dallas STDers, as their jersey said, and the Nashville Predators. 2019. Is it bad? I don't watch the Winter Classics. I don't think they're.
I don't pay too much attention, but there's a lot of.
I watched the intros, but I don't remember what teams were in it.
Okay, I go by the jerseys. That's what I'm going by. I want to say the Chicago Blackhawks, and it's always fucking Chicago. Chicago Blackhawks, Boston Bruins.
There we go. You got one off the board.
I remember that.
What?
I actually remember watching that.
Bruins had those beautiful white jerseys with the B stripes on the sleeves.
Yeah.
I'll go the black jersey.
Okay. Now I got to go 2018.
2018
was.
I have a feeling the era might end here because this one was actually your little. You might have to know this one to know it.
Actually?
Well, it's a little out there. I'll give you that.
I think like the Kings, but I don't think so.
Oh, buddy! If we played in the Winter Classic,
there was a stupid like.
It was a
stadium series.
Who thought that was a good idea? Anyways.
Dude, it was a sick game. You should have been there. It was awesome.
Did you pull up in shorts?
Yeah, I literally pulled our whole team pulled up in shorts and sandals. It was 77 degrees.
I don't know. Washington Capitals. And is Washington Capitals one of them? I'm gonna give it to Jared.
All right. So this is I knew this was hard. I'm gonna give whoever gets closest.
Yeah,
I think that's
Mario.
So whoever can go furthest. So Jared, you're up, man. Pick up the pieces starting from 2020.
Okay, 2020 Nashville Predators, Dallas Stars.
Yep.
2019 Chicago Blackhawks, Boston Bruins.
Yep.
2018.
Oh,
I'm gonna Google it.
Chicago Blackhawks, St. Louis Blues. I know Chicago had a bunch in a row, so I feel like that was one.
oh man, you were one off. That was 2017.
That was.
I knew that was one, but I just
That was
don't
seriously
remember.
2017.
Listen, I understand. 2018, like I'm
Oh,
looking
I
at it
would've
on my
never
screen.
guessed that.
Yeah, it's a random.
I didn't even know that happened.
Can you
Evan-
like say like?
Do you want me to
that
give
was-
you guys 2018?
No, yeah, just go in order because I don't fucking remember. Like
This one I didn't even know happened. I'm gonna be flat out.
Okay,
Like,
I'll
it's
give you guys
starting
2018, but
what was 2018?
once
Wait,
I give
was
it to
Boston,
you,
Montreal?
No.
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 That's
2018.
2015,
2018 was Buffalo, New York. Really random, really out there.
Wait. They played.
I remember that.
Who the fuck gave the Sabres a winner? Who gave them that power?
Apparently, Gary Bettman has some.
No,
soft
Gary
spots for
Bettman's a
the-
waste of sperm now. Like, who gives Buffalo a winter class?
Oh Lord.
Wait, wasn't that when like the Rangers won in overtime or something? Like, it was like some.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. you're
How do
right.
I remember that? But I don't remember who the fuck. Like,
Yeah. JT
All right.
scores a rebound. No.
So whoever raised their hand next will get to go on to the. Well, okay.
I
Evan's
win.
back up there. All right.
I
He
win.
beat you by like a millisecond.
I win.
All right. So I gave you 2018. We are all the way. So we're at 2017 because that was Jared's guess as well. So you have to name the last three. Sorry, last four. So that would be 2012, 2014, 2015, and 2016.
Huh? Oh wait, was 2012?
This one was a pretty popular one, I think.
That one was played. Okay, wait.
Oh, I know what that one
wasn't that
was.
one played? That was Boston. Was that Boston and New York?
No.
No, I actually know that one.
Who the? Oh wait. Oh wait. The
Don't say
2012
it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Jared, you gotta say it. 2012.
Could I go backwards or do I have to go?
Go whichever order you want. It's up to
Oh
you.
yeah, now you're generous. Fuck.
Okay, I feel like I'm better. I have a better chance that way. So I'm going. Okay, 2017 to St. Louis, Chicago. That's one I said. 2016. Hold on.
It's hard to
I got
guess
it's,
him with
it's
the
cooking.
shit.
It's cooking. I'm thinking of jerseys. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. My bar mitzvah was in 2016, and I had a Chicago Blackhawks. I believe it was a Winter Classic jersey. I don't remember if it was like the game was played in 2016 though, or if it was just like a Winter Classic jersey from the year prior. So I'm thinking, God, but would they literally do 2016 and 2017? I don't know. Fuck, I need a guess.
Let's go here. Put him on the clock.
Chicago Blackhawks, Pittsburgh Penguins. Why not?
I
No.
know that happened.
No.
Okay, how far back do I have to go?
So we got left on the board 2016, 2015, 2014, and
But didn't
2012.
Adamo just look it up though, like a minute or two ago?
No, I looked at 2018.
Oh, sure. I want to get a replay review on that one real quick.
Well, we'll see how far we can get.
Go
What's
for it.
2016?
Not 20. I know 2011 because 2011 was important to me. But that's not one of them.
Yeah, no.
Fuck.
I'm going 2012.
I'm trying to think of the jerseys. Didn't the Flyers have like a nice one? I'm trying to think. I swear
Yes,
the
no.
Flyers did.
Maybe so.
I
I
think
can't really give you that information yet.
Mario's like, we can't disclose that.
Can't disclose
because
that.
I'm pretty sure Claude Giroux on NHL 13 had the jersey on. I don't remember, but I remember something about the Flyers having a nice jersey. It might have been a cream one.
From De La
I
Creme.
don't know if they had a cream jersey. Shit, I don't know. Flyers.
Is this for 2012?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Then because Chell 13.
Wait, am I allowed to go after Adamo? Like, are we going in order or like?
Well, Jared's had his hand up, so he
Wait,
should beat
well,
you.
I thought we're going. in-
I don't know, man. Flyers, Islanders.
Ooh, no.
Wait, I
Jared,
thought we were
man.
going in order here. What the heck?
No, I raised my hand fair and square. I read the rule book.
He read the rule book clean. What is? Do you want to go 2012 or do you?
Hey,
want to
you know,
start
I'm
with
going
2016?
2012 just because I want to answer 2014. So, 20. I think Pittsburgh Penguins, Philadelphia Flyers, 2012.
All right, Evan's time to
Good.
shine here,
Oh, Evan, you're up, man.
It was
beating
okay,
around the bush.
when you said like it was a memorable one. I remember it was the Rangers and the Flyers in
Bingo.
2012.
Oh, shit.
2012 is correct. Evan's got it. You got 14, 15, and 16 left on the board to
Oh,
be crowned the
Fuck,
points.
buddy.
Okay,
2014.
2014 has got to be a give me.
I think it's Chicago.
2014 was the Leafs and Red Wings, right?
There you go. You got 2014. Now all you got left is 15 and 16.
Okay. 2015. Oh my god.
Fucking hand.
2015 was
It's got to be a screenshot of Evan. This is what trivia does to him, man. Gets him on
make
his
that
last
the
limbs.
fucking thumbnail. I feel like Chicago was in 2015 as well, but they're also in it like every year.
Yeah, I know.
I want to say 20. Was it Chicago, Boston?
No, not Chicago, Boston. Donovan, you got left to name 2015 and 2016. If you can get them right, you grab the points.
Wait, why does he
remember-
get the points? What the fuck?
Well, because he would be closest to
Oh, no,
all the
fuck
ones I
that, man.
mentioned.
Okay, I remember that Montreal and Boston had a matchup somewhere. I don't remember which one. So
Yeah, you got
do I gotta
50-50 chance.
say I got a 50? Okay, shit. Yeah, let's think logically here. 15, who won the cup? The Kings, so they probably wouldn't put the Blackhawks. Then 16, the Blackhawks won. Would they have won in a year they had a no? I think I increased my odds. I'm gonna go 15 Bruins Habs. Fuck.
All right, after Jared,
Jared-
can I go? And then we
Jared,
probably have
man,
to probably
you
one
got-
more guess, like for Jared and I, and then we gotta gas
0
this
points. We gotta
question.
gas
Yeah,
this.
Jared, is process of elimination, Jared. This is you should have it.
I think
Okay.
donuts across.
I think 2015 Washington, Chicago.
Here we go. In 2016.
2016.
Bruins points.
Oh boy.
The Boston Bruins against the Montreal.
That is
Canadiens.
correct. Jared
Damn it.
has the
Woo!
points. He is up 1-0.
The glasses.
The glasses are
Look
carried.
at your stupid glasses.
Dude,
Our
I,
class-
Everyone rock glasses. Come
for
on.
how like hype the Winter Classic is, like it's always like it just goes down like the drain in terms of like who actually remembers it, because it's also just a regular season game.
Oh, can I download these?
All right. Hands down. We got question 2 coming up.
Second one.
Damn it, put that hand down, boy.
All right. Question 2. This is in light of the Maple Leafs and the Philadelphia Flyers matching up tonight. So Leafs legend James Van Riemsdyk played 6 seasons with the team before being traded back to the team he was drafted by, the Philadelphia Flyers. Who did the Leafs trade to acquire JVR? Damo, this one is, I don't know. You guys may have it, or maybe you guys don't know at all. I knew it off the hop.
Why am I panicking? I
don't know if it
Luke
is a
Shen.
panic.
It's Luke Shen. It's Luke Shen.
It is Luke Shen.
Okay.
Grip off the
Okay.
Band-Aid as fast as possible. Don't give it time to stutter, because
Yeah.
you were correct.
I was gonna
That is
say.
8 points for Adamo. So it is 1 Jared, 1 Adamo, and I could have guessed this one off the hop. Evan was 0 points. All
Yeah,
right.
well, I don't know like Leafs history much.
Well-
This is kind of a scam.
Well, I hope you know just the general history of the National Hockey League, because question 3 should suit all of you pretty darn well. The Tampa Bay Lightning hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup in each of the past 2 seasons. Which teams won the Cup over the last 12 years? Since 2009.
Oh, I
So,
got first.
can you name me, Evan, because you put your hand up first, can you name me the Stanley Cup champions
2009?
between 2009 and 2000? I guess you want to go 20? Get Tampa Bay off the board.
2000? Could you go 2010?
No, 2009.
2009. We're sticking with the guns here.
Holy
2009.
fuck.
Yes, I know this.
You want to start from top or
2000.
bottom?
If you get this
I'll
wrong, I
start
will
from the
get this
top. I'll
right.
start from the top.
I think that's a better choice.
Okay, I'll start from the top here so I can like at least like it'll probably come to me over time. So wait, where are we starting from?
Just start 2020.
2020.
Okay, so 2020 was Tampa
The
Bay
bubble.
Yep.
bubble playoffs. 2019 was St. Louis.
Yep.
Oh my god. 2018 was. Oh my god. How am I already forgetting? 2018 was, oh fuck, oh my god, how am I already forgetting? 2018 was the Washington Capitals. Fuck
There you
that.
go.
Fuck the Capitals. 2017 would have been, oh my god, how am I so bad with history? 2017 would have been, fuck.
Jesus.
How am I this bad? Oh my god, 20. I can't believe I'm this bad already.
He says this.
Should I put a time limit on these?
I think you gotta put a
Yeah,
time on it.
gas.
I'll give you 10 seconds each pick.
Get out of here.
Is that not generous enough, or what do you think?
Yeah.
15?
Oh, 2017. Fuck. 2017 was. Oh wait, no. Never mind. I don't
10,
know.
9.
Was it Pittsburgh or
8.
no?
Correct.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Penguins won 2017. Pittsburgh Penguins won 2016.
Correct.
Chicago won 2015.
Correct.
The Kings won 2014.
Correct. He's rolling.
Blackhawks won 2013.
Correct.
Kings won 2012.
Correct.
Boston won 2010. I'm sorry, 2011. I mean 2011. I mean.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, but like I was going down.
He
the
was
line.
going the order. He was
Sorry,
going the
I
order.
was
Give it to
forgetting
him.
the line. I'm sorry.
Give it.
Boston won
yours.
2011.
Yep.
I want to say. Wait, did Chicago win 2010 as well?
That is correct.
And
You got one more left.
Oh my god! And in 2009.
If it's me, I'm jumping on this.
Oh, 2009 was the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That is correct. He completes the sweep, doesn't give a chance or the light of day for these guys to talk. Evan gets on the board. We are knotted up at 1.
Let's.
One's across the board, and I will add this up in just a moment. I'll get out last week's episode as well, just so I know the full tallies. And I got a bonus question for you guys. It's up to you if you want to play it, though.
Yeah.
It's not an all or nothing or anything. It's just if you get it, you get 2 points, because this one I don't expect anyone to get.
All right. Wait, we gotta put the hands down. Boys, we gotta put the hands down.
Put the hands down.
Jared,
All
you
right.
gotta take the shades off. I gotta see what you're thinking real quick.
All right.
Oh,
Yes.
shit. Oh, he's thinking some good shit right now.
All right.
It's a me, a mine.
So this bonus
It's
question.
November.
It's November.
Yeah.
I got the stash going right
Does
now.
Jory approve of the new
Should I just,
stash,
should I
Jared?
just get rid of this?
I did shave the November stash. Jory did not approve.
Not approve, eh?
Dude, I can't believe I forgot about 2017. I was like, was that the year they went back to back, or was it 2016, 2015? And I was like, Blackhawks.
I'm so mad I didn't get that question. You
Yeah.
should have gone farther back. 2009 is too recent. I love
That's
those.
12 years.
No, that
Yeah,
like
it would have taken a while, I think.
that's 2008
Okay, wasn't
Detroit Red Wings,
2008 the
2007
Detroit-
Anaheim Ducks.
Wasn't 2008 like the Red Wings or something?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I remember like
2007,
Marion
Anaheim,
Hossa
Detroit.
went from like
Yeah.
Pittsburgh to Detroit, and everyone felt bad.
2007
for
the
him.
Ducks. 2006 Carolina.
Yeah.
2005 no
Didn't
one.
happen.
2004 Tampa Bay.
Okay,
2003
we get it. You
were
fucking
born,
like
New Jersey
ejaculate
Devils.
yourself to the Stanley Cup winners because you haven't had one in 50 fucking years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
67 Toronto Maple Leafs.
All right. Let's move this thing
Yeah,
along.
let's
Bonus
get-
question
let's get
here
this bonus
before we sign off on the podcast. So this one, it's out there. I'm gonna give credit to my boss from work. He actually gave this question to me today,
Quick
and I was
plug.
blown away from it. Quick plug to what he is known at work, the Tent Daddy, Dalton Frood. Gotta give a shout out to him. If none of you get this, I might buy him a pack of cigarettes because he guaranteed that no one would get
wait,
this.
we
so-
don't condone smoking on
We don't
the
condone
podcast.
smoking, but he's passed
Unless-
that bridge immensely. All right, so here's the question. Which 2 brothers combined for the most points in NHL history?
Oh, fuck that.
Gretzky's. The
The
Gretzky's.
Gretzky's.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, we know. And the brother at 4.
I am
Didn't he win?
surprised.
Yeah,
Four
that's like
I'm
points.
sure Brent
easiest-
had one.
No, Brent had 4.
He had 1 goal,
Did
3
he?
assists.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's like the
points. That's what I
easiest
meant.
question.
Yeah,
in the
that's like a
book.
known question.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
I'm
like
just,
one.
I'm
There's
just,
like memes about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's so many memes like on Instagram, like especially like on the anniversary of like Gretzky's trade to LA, everyone like points out the fact that his brother was just like a garbage can.
man, I am actually surprised.
Who's second?
That was,
Danbury Trashers legend though.
You know who's second? I don't know who's second.
it's the Dean,
Probably
it's the Dean
Sedin.
twins, yeah.
Oh, probably maybe the Stalls actually.
I saw it was Sedin's
Oh, maybe.
on Google.
Oh. okay.
Anyways, do you know what this means, Adam?
What does it mean?
means that you jumped to a pretty big lead here.
Wait. I think we all
You know
kind of
what?
raised
Don't give me
it.
the points. Don't give
You
me
don't want
me-
points?
We kind of
Nah,
all
I
raised
feel
it.
like-
Yeah, we all knew that one.
You want me to ask you?
That's
this
kinda
one? None of
hogwash.
you are gonna know? I have
Ask
one
me-
more bonus
ask
question.
me-
Yeah,
for
ask
me,
us
though,
another
for me,
one,
though,
'cause, like,
because
we
I
kinda-
got it first.
This is
Let
for
me
the
ask
2 points.
Yeah.
All right,
we
let me
kinda
look it
all-
up just so I make.
We
don't
all
make a
kind of
mistake.
jumped. Hey, right, lower those hand points. We kind of all jumped the gun there. That like you can't like we all got that relatively quick.
All right,
Hey,
Is that
Damo-
Adamo.
us or is it me?
Adamo.
Right?
just you.
Yes. Okay.
Adamo, let's lower that hand, you fucking cheater. I'm talking about on the virtual Zoom. I'm not.
All right.
I'm
So
talking
here-
about. Okay, I mean like the hand in here.
Here's a question:
Oh, that doesn't matter.
Who did Josh Levo get traded to, and who is the player that got traded for?
You're talking about like
Got
when he got
traded
traded from like
to-
the Leafs.
Like
So when he
wait,
went from the Leafs to
Vancouver.
Vancouver, so he went to the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay, and who was the
And-
player? He has not played with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
He never played with them.
Oh, wait, I know. Wait, I might.
I
Hold
don't
on,
Would it
hold on.
be? Would it be?
Give me a friggin' second.
It's
No,
his.
fuck
He's
off.
got.
Give me a
He's got the
second.
spotlight, man.
Give me a second here.
2 points on the line.
Wow.
I know who it is.
Oh, I know who it is too. He's a minor leaguer. What the frig was his name? He was a good one too. Oh my god, he put up a shit ton of points. What? No. Oh my god, what was his name? I know who it is, and if you're gonna say the name, I'm gonna be pissed. I
Can I-
know this. No,
Am I,
you
turn,
cannot.
am I turning
Give
this
me
over to
2
you guys if he
seconds.
gets it wrong, or
Give me
is it
2
just him?
seconds? Mother friggin', oh my god, what is his name? He's a center, I think, right? I think he was a center on the Marlies. He led them in scoring.
It's just
Fuck.
not for you.
Fuck. What is his name? Oh, his name, it's gonna bother me. Cause I actually, like, not followed the Marlies, but, like, I'd like to keep track of them every so often.
I'll give you some hints because this is hard. He plays for Arizona now.
It wasn't Galchenyuk.
It wasn't
like-
Galchenyuk.
Like, on the Coyotes or on, like, Tuscan?
Can't disclose that.
Tuscan.
Yeah.
Wasn't Tuscan now. He's not an NHL.
Can I?
You got 10 seconds. I'm gonna have to put the
Yeah.
clock on you.
Oh,
10,
okay.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Agostino.
Good guess,
Damn it.
though. Good guess.
Can I? Wait. Can I guess?
Is it cool if I throw it over to him for 2 points?
2 points? No, but give it to him.
Okay.
Give him one.
I'll give you
give
1
him one.
point. Because
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
hey, this is for the lead, man.
I feel like I should be content with the 2. No freedoms over equal. Damn right, I supported it.
Yeah,
All right.
go.
Who's the player?
Was it Jordan Subban?
No, good guess,
No.
though.
I thought it
Good
like because I
guess.
knew.
I googled it. I wasn't getting it.
Jared, I'm going over to you,
I
and I'm not
wasn't
bringing
getting
it back. I'm not bringing the
No,
train.
don't. He's not gonna get this.
It's not. Did you search it up?
Yeah.
Oh my god, who the fuck would pull this out? Jared, if I'm not even joking, if you get this, I'll give you $10.
It's 10.
$10
though.
and 2 points in the
Hands
line.
up, no Google. Hands up, no Google.
Like I just googled it.
Hands up, no Google.
I just
Yeah.
googled it. If you get it, you're legit the biggest Leafs fan I've ever seen.
Like off the top of my head, I don't think I know it. Could he give me position?
I can
Yeah,
give you
sure.
position. He's
Winger.
a left winger. 5
Like in
foot
bed,
9,
or you mean like on the
170
ice?
Oh god. This one took a turn. And I'll give you a hint. He's got a sick Italian name.
Oh, I'm gonna give it. Nah, yeah, that
It was, I guess it was an Italian.
was-
Like,
for
it
Italian.
don't-
damn it, would that even help?
No, it
you?
wouldn't. It wouldn't have.
Enzo Ferrari. I don't know, sick Italian name. Not a hockey player, but no, I don't know it. I'm tapping out.
All right. Well, I don't know if he flies like Mr. Enzo Ferrari's inventions do, but his name is Michael Carcone.
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 Dude.
Like now that you say the name, it rings a bell, but I wouldn't have guessed it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
No, but I swear,
No,
like, I
it
know the
definitely
name,
does. It
but
definitely
I
does.
wouldn't have guessed it.
I wouldn't.
I'm
have
not going to
guessed
claim
now.
that I would have guessed it.
All right.
I honestly thought it was Jordan Subban because I remember he spent time in Vancouver.
Who did I think it
because like he used to play for Utica like for a very long time.
That is a good call. Yeah, Jordan Subban. It wasn't on that team too, actually.
Yeah, so that's why I remember like Subban got traded. I didn't know if it was like in that minuscule trade for Josh Levo. Like it would make sense though, because it's not like you're really trading much.
Wow, we really got nothing for him. Holy cow.
Do you have any other questions?
I do not. So we also got to get this.
Probably have to wrap
get
this
this
up.
one.
Huh?
Yeah, she's running a little long. So.
Oh, Jordan Subban now plays in the ECHL. What the hell?
Oh, boy.
Anyways, I'll give the update on the standings right now. So Jared has 5 points. Adamo's got 5 points, and Evan, if you didn't butcher last week's NHL cover, he would. I'm gonna keep opening these old wounds. He would have 5 right now.
Kick
he's
a
at
man
4.
to the curb while he's already down.
I'll kick a man when he's down.
All right, so I guess then the Stanley Cup one was kind of clutch, I guess.
That was clutch.
I think Adamo should get 1 point for his guy. He shouldn't get the 2 because double, like everyone knew it, but he still got an answer right. I think Adamo.
For
gets
what? What did he get?
for the Gretzky rush.
Yeah, but we all answered. Like we all like raised.
Yeah, but he raised his hand first. He gets the points for that.
No, we don't fucks with that.
I got. So I got.
I'd say
divided
give him
house
the 1
here.
point, even though it takes the lead from me, like or it takes the tie. I think Adamo deserves a point.
I
there. He
felt
got the
bad
answer
for
right.
taking 2. I also got the Vancouver Canucks part.
Well, that's
Like
true.
I kind of got like a
I knew it was
0.5.
Vancouver too.
Yeah.
Honestly, when he first brought up the question, I thought it was a quick trick question. I thought he was dropped on waivers because I mean VC was dropped on waivers, picked up by Vancouver. There was another one too.
Travis Boyd.
It was Travis Boyd. So yeah, so I thought that it was a trick question. I thought we just lost both waivers, but I guess not.
Well, off of the host's knowledge here, I'm giving you the extra point. Jared is also, he preached much of your case, so you can thank him for that extra point. So up to the standings as of now. So Jared, for the, what's that award called again? Gentleman Award?
When you won for
Lady
football.
Bing.
Lady Bang. There you go. So he's making the case pretty known. So Jared sits with 5 points, Evan sits with 4, and Adamo leads the way with 6 points on the year. I believe that is our 3rd episode of trivia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So 3 episodes of trivia, and we're getting interesting. It's a close contest, and I think it's going to go down right to the wire. And don't you worry, we'll have just as good questions to come the following weeks. And to come the following weeks, of course, are our podcast, because we're going to have to sign off on today. We will open it back up next week. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into Season 2, Episode 8 of the Leafs Line Podcast. It was a fun one from start till end. Make sure you go like our videos, subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, and of course, turn the notifications on so you can be notified when we post our videos. We post a new video each day. We separated them into segments just to make it a little more user-friendly, and you guys can shift around as you may fit. And we also have just timestamps in the description as well, as Jared does. I'm not even going to give an accurate guess as to what he is doing, but we gave timestamps in the main video's description as well. Hope you enjoy the thumbnails. Hope you enjoy the videos. And I hope you keep coming back for more. That does it for me, Mario Russo. I'm joined by Evan Davis, Jared Rotenberg, and Adamo Rimoli, signing off to you guys. Have a great evening, everyone. And Evan, like you always do it for us, sign us off.